Hello, friends. As almost always, I am Aaron BlueSky. As almost never, Roy Rogers is not here. Instead, we have a Greek and a geek, but it is one person. It's Nick. How you doing, Nick?
I've been better. I don't like computers, but that's okay. I'm fine. I'm not stressed at all by this at all. Nope. Everybody's happy.
What you always want to hear from your tech person is how wonderful they are at computers. It is the great joy of my life that my tech support is like, my computer is not working again. I broke it. So things go well here in Snap Judgment's land.
Because we do so much with it. It's the reason Tech has issues with his computers. He's trying to do so much. We're trying to make it as engaging an experience as possible. And sometimes that comes back to bite us in the ass.
New name for Super Tech God is going to be Broken Tech God. But he's not here today. Instead, we've got two returning guests now. Quickly becoming a regular, the man who does not sleep. Marvel Snap's most prolific streamer. It's Toxic Soul King, largely prolific because he does not sleep. How you doing, Toxie?
I'm doing great. It's prime time. It's 3 a.m. I feel great.
I can't wait till he gets old and he's like, 3 a.m.? What are you kidding me? Toxie, how could our friends find you?
They can find me on Twitch at Toxic Soul King. And otherwise, I try sometimes to do stuff on Twitter/X with the same name, but sometimes. Once every season, I post a deck.
Fair enough. All right,
Toxic, can you just clarify with us what time it is for you right now?
2:48 in the morning.
That's all. I just wanted to say this is how dedicated this human is to being on this podcast. It is almost 3 in the godforsaken morning.
If it wasn't for this,
maybe
he wasn't gonna be sleeping. Last night, wait, hang on. Last night it was like 2 in the morning for me as I'm finishing everything. And I'm like, I'm gonna pass out, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I don't know. I haven't slept. It's fine. I don't work. Like, okay, you have fun with that, Toxie. All right, we are also joined, coming all the way from the land of YouTubes, although also on Twitch. Really like your YouTube videos, though. It is the Unfit Parrot. How you doing, Parrot?
Thank you. Yes, you guys tried to kick me out after last time, but threw on my 90s hacker trench coat and glasses and found my way back on.
It's just you kept repeating everything I said back at me, and then I was confused, and I was just like, all right, well, I guess you're on the podcast again. Damn parrots.
Yep.
There you
go. How could our friends find you?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/unfitparrot, as well as Twitch. Not as active on Twitch, but hopefully we'll be getting more and more on there and always uploading 3 to 4 videos on YouTube.
Please follow. You will not regret it. If you like my content, you will love his. And I'm going to run us through... Oh, Nick. I guess Nick... Oh, Nick just turned himself off.
I'm still here.
Literally turns himself off as I'm about to be like, hey, Nick, how can our friends find you?
I'm lost to myself and the entire world. I'm Nick the Greek Geek on everything, and that's DA instead of duh. Please follow me. I am streaming.
The DA instead of the.
My brain might be a little frazzled at this exact moment, but please come follow me. I'm streaming more often. I'm trying to stream more regularly, so please.
It's true. He streamed twice in April.
I did.
That's infinitely more than March, though. So we're doing better. He streamed for like 8 hours yesterday, though. It was a long.
It was way too long. I don't know why. I lost so much rank. I went down so hard because I was playing Brady's deck, and then a whole bunch of other people were like, "Try my deck," and I'm like, "Sure." And I look up today, and I'm like, "Why am I 3,000 ranks lower?" Anyway, doesn't matter. It's fine.
Hey, look, man. Brady did a deck redeem, and I was like, "Better raid out." Like, gotta go. Play Agatha. What? Agatha Batroc? No, thank you. All right. I am Glazer. I stream on Twitch at BlueSky. If you'd like to watch the live version of this podcast, should you be watching it on either your favorite podcast catcher or YouTube, you can find me at twitch.tv/BlueSky. We record this live Thursday night. Next week, we'll be recording 2 podcasts, one Wednesday and one Thursday. I am not telling why, but it'll be cool. I promise. In addition to the next week thing, you can find me posting, I don't know, I think I posted 11 videos this week at youtube.com/@SnapJudgementsPod. If you're interested, statistically, you're most likely to be watching this there. But if you're seeing this anywhere else, please do go check out the YouTube, where you get way, way, way too many Marvel Snap videos. We have a new season coming, and as always, I will have a stupid amount of new decks for the new season. I don't really want to promote anything else. Is that okay? Are we all good? Those are the two things I care about as far as my content goes. All right, let us move on. We've got a ton of new cards to talk about because they released 4 new cards. But before we talk about any of the new cards, I have a general question, and we're going to start with Parrot, if that's cool. How do you feel about we dropped 4 new cards in a week? Because from not this coming month, but every month thereafter, it looks like that's going to be we dropped 5 new cards in a week.
I think that I really like it because to me it seems like what I would say is like the best of both worlds, as long as they don't get rid of the weekly. I actually really like the weekly. I like having every week be like, oh, it's Strange Supreme week, it's Hydra Stomper week, and like having that there, and I think people get excited for that. It gets people back into the game. Would not surprise me if every Tuesday player count shoots up and then like trickles down, goes maybe up more on the weekend. Like that seems like a really good system. But I also know there's people who are like, man, I wish we sometimes got like a couple of cards to fool around with, so everyone wasn't just trying the same card, because mirror matches is absolutely real. People are experimenting with the same new card, that the only one that released that week. So if this is the system, if we're getting like 1 new card a week, that's like the Series 5, and then they give us 3 or 4 Series 4 cards at the beginning of the month, then it seems like the best of both worlds with that.
Toxie?
I really like that. Like, I never had so much fun just trying and testing out some different stuff, and I had so many ideas, so I really enjoyed that. The thing, if they keep on with that plan to give us like 4 new Series 4 cards, and then, or like 3, and the weekly ones, maybe like in 2 or 3 seasons, it will be the first time that I really have to look for my tokens and my resources. Because if I don't start to sometimes buy stuff or get stuff, I might have to be careful with my stuff. But
how many tokens do you have right now?
60k.
Oh, that's not that many. Okay.
Yeah,
I have I have like 500k. So, you know.
Oh, good Lord. Calm down, Chase.
Well, no. Look, there's plenty of people that have 10 million more. Okay, fair enough. Sorry, go ahead, Toxie.
To my thing, I bought like a lot of spotlight variants. If I would have known that keys will be tokens soon, I wouldn't have got that many. But I need to wait.
You're always like, why do you have so many keys? Why do you have so many keys? Now you know. I didn't know. It's pure luck. I just didn't like a lot of the variants.
But
Nikki?
Yeah, otherwise from that, it was really good.
Sorry. Good.
That's okay. So I think the system will be fine for people for a little while. I think there's going to be a big problem coming up when people are trying to stay collection complete and it becomes unwieldy. It depends on their cadence of release, I think, is really what it comes down to.
But we know,
I think for a lot of us, well, we didn't know that they were going to drop 3 cards right now. We don't know. I don't know if they have a specific, I can't remember if they have a very specific, we're releasing X number of cards.
Here, I'll help. It seems like, for the time being, let's assume, because we know that there were 3 cards that we thought were going to drop this season. It was like Hellion, and then the anti-move one, and Quentin. So, like, they're not coming this coming month because these cards were supposed to be for next season. So they were going to drop 3 this season, and we know we have 3 that were like seemingly set for this season, which will probably be at the start of the next season. So it seems like it's just going to be 3. Like, I'm going to go under the assumption it's 3 until proven otherwise.
Fair. So wait, does that mean we're getting 3 per week?
No. We will get 5 per first week of the season. 5 new cards every first week of the season. Season pass, spotlight cash, 3 series 4.
Right. And we still don't know at this point what's happening with the spotlight caches, but that's a whole other ball of wax.
Spotlight variants.
Spotlight variants, sorry.
So.
Now, I think it'll be good. I still do think that there's going to be a bit of a pain point when people that aren't where a lot of us are going to be. But I I don't know. I still think it's a better situation. I'm hoping that it stays good and people are happy with it.
Okay. I'm in everything Parrot said, basically. I just want to co-sign quickly. Would
you say you'd parrot it?
I would parrot. I'm gonna parrot everything Parrot is saying here. That was fun. Yeah, I just typed a paragraph to Brady and didn't have it set to Twitch, and it sent to the ether. That was great. However, yeah, everything Parrot said, fundamentally, I'm in love. I want more cards. I crave novelty in my gaming experiences. And the new card a week thing is really fun, but it does get repetitive, being like, oh, great. Strange Supreme came out, so we're going to spend a week doing Strange Supreme things. Yes. And then whatever card, we're going to spend a week doing this, and it gets repetitive, even if it's a different card, you know the pattern. Having 1 week that completely shits all over that pattern, especially this time it was 4 move cards, right? But that's not usually going to be the case in all likelihood. So going forward, if it's just okay, you're getting these 5 totally different cards at the start of the season, and once the season passed, hell yeah, let's do it. Let's have 1 week that's completely different. And purely selfishly, the first week of the season is very often my biggest week in terms of content, in terms of views, in terms of everything along those lines. So getting even more of that first week seems extra good. Let's have the money week. That sounds amazing. And then there's Twitch drops week, and now we have 2 weeks in Marvel Snap that are fundamentally different and really, really good for content. And there's fairly often special event week, which sometimes half overlaps with Twitch drop week. And now we've just got a lot of different things, and the game really, once you hit Infinite, can feel very samey. And I absolutely, absolutely, absolutely love that we're moving away from that. And now, Hydra Stomper, who is a Series 5 3/2, ongoing +1 power for each card you move this game. Toxic.
I like it. He seems like a fine card. I used him yesterday a bunch in my Infinite Conquest run in a Scream deck with Batroc, and he did good job. It wasn't rare that I just got to a 3/8, 3/9, especially with the help of Sam Wilson. Sam Wilson just elevated so many move decks and Scream decks with his presence, and with Sam, with the other Scream move stuff, he's doing a really good job. I'm not 100% sure if he will stay in most of the decks that are not 100% only move, like the basic handball decks. But right now, since the meta is not set at all, you can try him out in different stuff and just have a fun with maybe 3/11 if you're lucky enough.
Yeah, I really liked this card so far. It's felt good in a variety of move shells that I put him in, which is something I always look at. The one thing that I'm looking at with Hydra Stomper is if he can cross that new card threshold, where it feels like there's a lot of cards, like Fenris Wolf is a great example, where it's a good card. You can absolutely play Fenris Wolf. There are sometimes, one of the top 5 decks will be Fenris Wolf, and sometimes no one's really playing him, and you don't really need the card, but it's totally playable and good to have. And it feels like sometimes cards kind of get stuck in that spot, which is probably where they should all be, where it's this card's totally playable. And Hydra Stomper, I'm not sure if it's going to be you're going to see this, for the next couple months, like a Sam Wilson or a Gorgon or something, or if it's just kind of this is a good card, but very skippable if you don't really want to play move. But I've enjoyed him in a couple of different decks, so we'll see. To me, he's right on that threshold of maybe pushing above to being a kind of almost so many decks want him that I'm would recommend it.
Nick?
I think Toxie and Parrot have kind of said everything that could be said about the card. I think it's a solid card. I think it's funny that it's kind of the least used out of all of the cards that released this week, considering so many people are using Batroc and well, okay, right?
Yeah,
fair. But I think they're on the low end versus you've got the other 2 cards that are just so much more versatile, I guess, in what people are trying to do. Plus their Series 4, which I think is good. Honestly, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
So I fundamentally agree. Nick's louder than everyone else. Hello, Granite. So I fundamentally agree with everything everyone said. I'm curious if this little package we have, that's like it's Sam, Craven, Stomper, Batroc, Silk. Am I missing something there? Those 5 cards, right? Those 5 cards seem really, really versatile and seem like they can go in a lot of shells. I spent a decent portion of my day playing them in the Cougar Ajax shell, where I'm running like the High Evolutionary Ajax thing with them, and I had a lot of success. It felt very, very powerful and very, very consistent. Excuse me, my throat just acted up. But yeah, I think Hydra Stomper is very good. I don't know if it's great, but anything that has a package that it can go in is usually useful, is usually going to stick around for a little while. So I expect this to like stick around. I don't think it's going to be the best thing to do, but like the meta is so warped right now by Thanos that it's making it really hard to evaluate anything, right? Like so much of the meta is just like, is this good against Thanos? And like, is this good against Thanos? It's not bad against Thanos. Like, and if, sure, I'll take not actively bad against Thanos, as so many cards are, right? Like, it's fine. I'm okay with it. I think it's a good card. I think it in spotlights. I would like if I was doing my last chance review type thing, which I don't think I really have to do anymore because you can just freaking buy the card whenever you want now, right? I think this would end up being just barely a skip. But like a lot of cards end up just barely a buy or just barely a skip. So it's right in that range of so many of those cards. All right. We've got 18 more cards to talk about. Any further Hydra Stomper thoughts? No? All right. Let us go on to the Leaper. It's Batroc the Leaper. We should have had Den on today instead of Toxic Soul King. I'm very sorry. We got the wrong person. The most notable French Marvel character is Batroc. When a card moves, follow it to gain +2 power once per turn. It is a 1/2. Let's go, Parrot. You're muted, Parrot. Or we can't hear you. Toxie, go.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, there you go. Good.
Sorry. But yeah, I think the cat's kind of out of the bag on this one, where this one is seeming like of the 4 pretty good cards, this one's seeming like it's taking the top. Like this card with Sam Wilson is like that's probably a 2-card combo. You put Craven in there and Silk, and suddenly, like you were saying previously, like that seems like a package. Mm-hmm. And whether or not that's a package that's going to be as like we've seen packages before. Darkhawk used to be a package. Scream is currently a package, and like you can put them in a lot of decks. They're very powerful. But I think one thing to really realize with this card is that while it's really good, it's probably going to be a package. If there's any card from the new ones this week, I would recommend getting Batroc the Leaper. Is it too good that it's worthy like of a nerf, which is something that I think people start to look at? I don't think so, because like Glazer was saying, like this meta is so shifted. Like if this would have came out the Scream, Killmonger, Lady Deathstrike week, I don't think we'd be nearly as excited as Batroc. We'd be like, yeah, I made a 1/6. It got Killmongered. But with everyone playing these Thanos decks and stuff, it tells me that this card is good. Like clearly, if it's good now, there's no reason that it can't be good in the future. But will it stay as dominant as it is now? Something that I'm looking at. I think we definitely need to wait.
I was thinking about, do I like Batroc the most out of like all the cards we got this season before like Carter got buffed? And I feel like probably yes. I just dislike the fact that he's such good with one of the most played 2-drops in the game. Like him and Sam Wilson is just such a good team together. It's just like I get these cards in my starting hand, I just snap. I don't know why we need another 1-drop that can easily scale to a 10-drop. Like Strange can easily scale to a 10-drop. I don't know why we need these low curve cards that can scale so much. He is fine if your opponent, or like if Scream is meta relevant, then he will not be a big issue. The moment we see less Scream, or maybe one day not a Scream nerf, who knows, then we might be in trouble, because he could do like a lot of big numbers and he could really shift the meta on his own.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the most fun cards. It makes me wonder if you're playing this, is there any point playing Werewolf? He is so much easier to activate, so much easier to mess up your other opponent. They can also mess you up too if they're running Scream, but I don't know. I think it's a very interesting card, and I'm having fun with it. I think it's probably one of the more fun cards that has come out. Like, it's a nice to have a move card that is cheap and is just, hey, what if I just played this card?
I mean, he's almost certainly too good, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can say what we want, but like, yes, you can run counters. You know, there's basically nothing but Hella when it's too good in Marvel Snap that you can't just run counters to. Like, that's not a thing. You're not going to see counters in every game, and for Batroc, you're not going to see counters in like 70% of your games, right? If not more. Like, Killmonger is not a 30% play rate card at any rate. So that means I get, and let's say conservatively, like I draw him on turn 4. That's a 1/6. I just got a demon and I didn't have to play a hood. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm crazy, but like that's also Lizard, who's like the biggest base 2. That's 100% discount. Am I crazy here? Off Lizard's cost? Like, is my math right? Somebody want to check me there? We good? Yeah.
No.
But like he's too good. He's just too good. I think it's probably fine for him to be a little too good because he's a reasonably high skill cap player. I don't really mind that he's too good for a little while, but we gonna get sick of him. This is gonna be one of those cards that the community is gonna be yelling about in a few weeks. Where the week it comes out, everyone's like, "This has so much fun," and then 3 weeks later, everyone's like, "Oh, right. Can we not do this in every deck all the time?" Like, remember when Sam Wilson first came out? Everyone's like, "Oh my god, we love Sam Wilson so much." Now everyone's like, "Oh, a shield on the board, lovely." Like, we're gonna end up in the same place with Batroc. I'm just curious how long. Like, so if you play him on 1, it's really hard not to get him to a 1/8. Right? Like,
yeah.
1/8 is a lot of stats. That is Gladiator. I just got a Gladiator for my 1, and yes, he can be tricky, and yes, he can be Killmongered. But I didn't invest anything. I needed a 1-drop. I could have run Hydra Bob, who all the same caveats apply to, except I now got double the power and extra benefits on my Craven and shit.
Yeah.
Nah. This card's gonna be real obnoxious real fast.
I will say, the one thing that I will say about Batroc is that I'm glad he came out specifically right now because we're not getting an OTA for a little bit, and this is the kind of card that I actually kind of want to see how it goes at, like, week after week. Like, right now it's seeming super great. Maybe next week it's still seeming great, and maybe, you know, a couple of weeks, like, we just got all this move support. Let's see how it is when, you know, Esme Cuckoo comes out and everyone's playing Surfer. What is Batroc looking like there? Because that was something. The one thing about the live balance is, as we saw with Werewolf, when it got absolutely gutted and then slowly back to exactly where it was, because everyone went, "Holy crap, this is a 317," and they absolutely gutted it. So I want to see Batroc a little bit before they would pull any kind of nerf, but definitely could be deserving of one, especially with everything you just said, which I totally agree with. But
I've both won and lost games by like playing and misplaying him, right? Or messing with my opponent's version of him. He's not perfect. And like if you're doing all the move cards, like eventually I think he's gonna be divorced from Silk because it's really easy to accidentally clog yourself with those 2 cards. But yeah, it's just a lot of points. We'll talk more about him later. We're gonna come back to him later, I promise. All right. Topaz is 3/4. After you play a card here, move it to the middle location. And just a quick note, if you'd like to be invited back, maybe be nice to Topaz. Toxie.
I feel like
he's like, time to get kicked off. Let's go.
I can finally sleep at 3 a.m. Since she's not an activate card, I like her more than Aranya, honestly. And she's just like, you play her on 4, you can play in 1-drop, like in Torch on her. She's just so much more impact than Aranya ever was. Like now, after the nerf. I enjoy her a lot. She seems really powerful, and overall, probably a card people sleep on more, because Batroc is just like hey, he's a 110 sometimes, so everybody's looking at a 110. But I would not underestimate Topaz, and I really, really think she will be a solid card in especially the Heimdall move decks.
Okay.
I agree with everything Toxie said. This is, I think, kind of a bit of a slept-on card right now with all of the move things that we got, and I think a lot of move decks are going to like it. The one thing that I'm not sure about Topaz is going forward. This seems like we just got all these move cards. Kind of the slots in move decks are getting a bit more constrained, and we already have a card, that's supposed to be releasing in a couple weeks here with Zorn.
Yeah.
That's kind of similar, and I'm like, decks are not going to want to run both of these, I don't think. Like, a card that moves when a card is played here is a very specific thing. So I'm wondering, I'm not saying that Topaz will be worse than that card, but it feels like if one is better, they might make some tweaks or something to the other one, but it's a very weird dichotomy to have both of them releasing so soon. And until move kind of branches out like discard, where we have like 4 or 5 different discard lists, which I could see happening with move, I'm wondering if Topaz will just be like, this is a good card that people aren't playing enough of.
Yeah, it's a good card. It really accentuates the move. Combining it with Heimdall, you get to mess around with that quite a bit. It's, again, I think with a lot of move cards, I don't think it's a super easy card to use, but I think it's an easy card if you know what you're doing to get a huge amount of power on the board very easily and at a relatively low cost.
I like this a lot. This is like my favorite card of these. Move Surfer is so much fun. I've got like 3 Move Surfer builds right now, and I love them all. Like, none of them even play similarly. They're all completely different decks, even though they're Move Surfer. It's so much fun to play Move Surfer right now. One doesn't even run Galacta, which is just like, hell yeah. I don't need no Galacta in my Surfer. Like, I'm all about this card. It's at least good in move bounce, right? Like, if you're missing a card in move bounce. I can't get Sizer to do anything the last week of the season because he goes crazy trying to go for number 1, and Zunes is taking him out. He's losing to a 16-year-old, so I'm going to mock him relentlessly. It's going to be really great. But for the time being, at the start of next season, I'm going to make him try it for Aranya, because I have a feeling if there's a card it might be better than Aranya, even though like Aranya seems like a weird cut. Toxie agreed. That was good. Toxie gave me a big old nod, right? Like, Aranya is great, but Aranya can be slow, and Aranya doesn't get reused and sits there being hit by Killmonger. This puts everything in the same spot, which is really, really useful for your bounce cards. And it is Killmonger proof. And if they and it's completely it's completely insane if you put Madam Web mid. If you put the Madam Web mid in this, like, on the side, you're just like, all right, throw it into Madam Web, throw it back, move whoever you want, and you just get a crap ton of power. But there's like just a ton of things you can do that way. I'm really, really excited for this card. Like, I don't think it's especially good in Classic Move because I can't figure out how to play it in Classic Move, or like I never want to play it in Classic Move. But the stats with the Classic Move with it in the deck are some of the best are actually right now the best Classic Heimdall move deck stats. So I don't know. Like, it just seems like this is gonna keep finding homes. This is amazing with Red Wing, right? Like, if you have Red Wing, this is really, really good. It's got a lot of cool synergies. It's just a cool card. Like, one thing I was doing was I was going Galacta in one lane, this in one lane, and then just putting a torch into the into this and playing one other move card, and you just got 20 power. 20 power is a lot, and I didn't really invest a lot for that, and I still have plenty of other things I can do. Like, and that's my turn 5, right? Which means I can still do Brood or whatever other bullshit I want on turn 6. Stuff is great. I love this kind of card. It is fun without being overpowered. It's still sort of a weakish body, but not so weak you feel bad playing it. This is really, really, like, great design. I love Topaz. If you didn't guess from my original statements when we first started talking about it.
Never could have guessed at all. Not a chance.
I mean, you just sold me with the argument I said it too, she's better than Aranya. And every opportunity I don't have to play an Activate card is like a win for me.
Yes. Activate is terrible.
Yes.
It's like, They released another keyword like 2 or 3 months after Activate that was way better, and I don't even remember what it is. But Activate was such junk that like they've soured us on new keywords forever. And they're like, Activate's gonna be so good, and then like
it wasn't.
it wasn't. Like there's a few okay Activate cards.
Skills. Was skills the other one?
Skills, thank you. Skills are awesome. That's a totally new card type. Why are we not selling skills? Skills are amazing, but we're like, Activate's gonna be it. That's our new thing. No, skills are the shit.
Especially everything that's just more expensive than a 2-drop Activate.
So let's get past this.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of Activate, I'm going to take back everything I said bad about Activate. Fei is a 4/7 Activate Series 4. These are everything but Hydra Stomper Series 4. Activate, move your other cards here to the right. Right now, it is bugged and works with unrevealed things. That is not supposed to be the case. Glenn confirmed in a question on the Discord. So they will fix that, and then it will be completely awesome. Right, Parrot?
Absolutely. I don't dislike Activate maybe as much as the other guests here, but I agree that with 4-drops, like anything more than 3 that has an Activate, the only reason you would want that is if it's something that you like specifically want to do after the game, right? Like Hell Cow was a really good 4-drop when it let you discard 2 Activate, because like you could play that 4, play that 5, and then you specifically wanted it to be like after a big 6-drop thing. And that's why I kind of like Fei, is because to me she works with Heimdall. Like Heimdall is the card she works with. She's the anti-Heimdall. You can play around with Heimdall, which is sometimes kind of a hard, like if you ever play classic move, you're just like, oh crap, everything's going to end up right there. Like how can I get a little bit more points into the middle or a little bit more points to the right? And she helps with that. So I like her in classic move, but she's a 4-drop. 4-drops, or like even 4-drops not with Activate, are kind of in not a great place when we have such great 1, 2, and 3 drops, and throwing an Activate on there and making it very specific makes it very niche. But I think she has a home with Heimdall decks.
Despite the fact that she's Activate and she's a 4-drop, she's like fine. Like the good thing I like about her, she has just like she has a lot of mind game potential, especially if you're playing on higher elo. You can outsmart people. They think you activate, you don't activate, and you can just steal some cubes with that. So in that perspective, I like her. That's like probably one of the few things I like with Activate. But except from that, I don't know. I had a hard time with her. I tried my best to find fitting decks with her, and she's probably like fine-ish in the Heimdall version. For move bounce, she's just too expensive. But overall, I would say, or I said it too, she's probably for me the weakest out of the new cards we got this week.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Toxie there. Like, she's fun. It's a good Activate card, but being a 4-cost Activate, I mean, we've seen it with Symbiote Spider-Man. It really limits, I think, their flexibility and usability. But I think her ability is interesting, and I think it really provides an interesting take for move, but I think she has yet to have her home discovered as far as where she fits and where she can best be run. But I think it's a good card. And again, I'm glad to see it's a Series 4 card, because it's at least an investment that you don't have to spend a ton on.
I think this card's really good in Heimdall move. And like, so that deck lives and dies on Cloak. Cloak is the most important card in that deck. It's the single way I know when, like, if I'm playing against someone with that deck and they play Cloak on 2 or 3, I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Cloak is like only a turn 5 play. Ever, right? Well, this for the time being, until we get Hellion, if we get Hellion, right, is the closest thing we have to a backup Cloak. And I was able to win games. Like, you can win without Cloak, right? But like, it's way harder to win without Cloak with that deck. This, even like just threatening it to win without Cloak is amazing. You don't have to activate it on 5. You can activate it on 6 and then drop Heimdall. You can drop Heimdall and then activate it and throw everything that ended up in that middle lane back to the right. it is so hard to play around this card. This does not have the Symbiote Spider-Man problem. The Symbiote Spider-Man's problem is partially that it's Activate, but it's also partially that it wants to either sit alone in a lane, which means Red Guardian and Juggernaut and all these other cards are just like bait, have fun. This doesn't want to be alone in a lane. If you're Red Guardianing that lane, that's fine, but you're not hitting this in all likelihood.
Yeah.
And like, even like let's say you Magneto this, unless you Magneto in the right location, and you can Magneto in the right location, but then you just moved everything where I was gonna fucking move it anyway, right? So you can Magneto in the right to mess with this, but like outside of that, it's still gonna be able to activate. And then the last thing, I just want to note that how long have Parrot, how long have you been playing?
Since closed beta?
Okay. Wow, longer than me. Toxie.
First season after the beta finished.
Okay. Me too. Nick?
Same. Start of first season, the Miles season.
So here, ready for this claim? You can react if you want, or just let it lie. Kraven is the new Angela. What Angela was back then. It has 10 million enablers, and it gets freaking huge.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the enablers thing is spot on. Just so many cards are now working with Kraven.
I mean, you shove it in the middle, and you play the card we just talked about, right? Like Topaz. I gotta learn these. Like the first week of new cards, if they're not like famous Marvel characters, I'm always like, that one. The first, like Topaz, you can play 2 or 3 cards. You can throw Kraven in the right lane and play 3 cards on this, and then guess what? You just got +6 power on Kraven in one shot. Besides everything else you did, like there's so many different ways that you can combine this with silly nonsense and just get a ton of power on Kraven. Like almost anything I think that works with Kraven is for the time being going to be a decent card because there's so many enablers. Plus 4/7. Right? Like, that's decent stats.
Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of the default for those 4-cost activates. It seems to be what they're setting it as. But I think that's fair.
For some reason, Anti-Venom.
Yeah.
Anti-Venom disappeared. I haven't seen Anti-Venom in ages. Sorry, that's not true. I got it from a Triskelion. But outside of the Triskelion, I haven't seen Anti-Venom in ages.
I see a bunch of Anti-Venom because there's a face Derek, and Derek is always doing some stuff with Anti-Venom. Funny enough.
Derek loves Anti-Venom. He's not on my server, so I don't actually have to face Derek. All right. Yeah, I think that this card's just gonna be good. I just think this card's gonna be good. I don't like consistently good, and it's not gonna be in 50 decks. I think it goes in Heimdall move, but like as long as Heimdall move exists, I think this is going to be the question is going to be when Hellion comes out, if Hellion comes out with the text we think. Hellion is data mined as a 5/8 one-sided cloak. Do we give a shit about this card anymore? I can see the answer to that being no, pretty easily, right? But like if that's like, because a lot of what this is extra. But I could see also just running both and just saying I just drop my movers and I can move them 2 or 3 times with big things. Like if I can go if I could just like drop I don't know, 1 Human Torch, 2 Dagger, 3 Vulture, right? And then I can go Fan Fei into Hellion. I feel like I'm pretty good, right? Like that doesn't seem like I feel too bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I like this card.
Yeah, I think it's a fun card. I think it's nice to have an activate card for move that's not just a Rania.
Yeah.
I like to see a not 1, 2, or 3 drop for move too, because they've really struggled with 2099 Spider-Man.
Yeah. Decent 2099 has been seeing a lot more play, like almost infinitely more play than I like. It's like the streaming of Nick from April to May, right? Like, or March to April, where like in March it was 0 2099s, and now I'm seeing it, and like it's in some of my decks. I still think odds are it's wrong, but it's not embarrassing anymore.
I wonder if Glenn's ever going to change his tune. Glenn was in the staunch belief that there was that magic 2099 deck that would ruin everybody, and he refused to announce it. Like, very silly.
I don't think so. We good?
I think so.
Yeah.
Game of the day. The game is Berlitha. Ban it. Errado it, buff it, or leave it the hell alone. We're going to go over 10 cards. It's actually 12 cards because I couldn't get down to 10. I actually had 11, and then I figured the guest can pick the last one. Nerf it and how. OTA redesign. Buff it and how. OTA redesign. Or leave it the hell alone and why. This is in honor of an old friend of mine named Will, who's probably not listening, but in case he randomly listens to an episode when he sees the title. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about 12 cards and what their power level is and whether we think they should be changed and how. Cool?
What's Berlitha again? Is that something that he created?
It's ban errata, leave it the hell alone.
Oh, right.
So it was from a different game, but he had that on his podcast a million years ago that I was also on. And so I just kept the name in his honor.
Beautiful.
Sam Wilson is how we're starting. We're not going to read Sam Wilson. If you've played Marvel Snap in the past 6 months and you don't know what Sam Wilson is, I don't think me explaining it now is going to do very much. So, all right, let's start with just saying ban. No one's going to say buff, I'm assuming. Sorry. Buff, nerf, or leave it alone for Sam. And we'll just go down and then we'll figure out which is the most and we'll discuss that. Nick?
I have a sorry. We're just I have
Nerf?
a change, but
Nerf?
No. It's just redesign.
Okay. Toxie?
Go with Nerf.
Parrot?
Nerf.
I 3 am Nerf. Nick, what is your idea for a redesign?
I think my idea for the redesign is to take away the power from the shield and make it an equipment. Like, they're bringing equipment into the game. Why not convert the shield into that? Why does it need to have a cost and power? Yeah, there's skills and stuff that you can attach. I think that's what it was, if I remember correctly. So. But
that doesn't.
I still.
Wait, is that true? Help me here before we go forward.
Are you thinking of the champion skills?
Oh, the champion skills. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't know. I don't know if I saw any equipment there.
Skill like astral projection that didn't banish itself. Like that?
Yeah, I think it was something like that. But I thought I remember seeing something about equipment. But if I didn't, there should be something about equipment. I think it would be smart to put that into the game and let this be that. It doesn't need to have a power. If they can make the Agamotto spells without having a power to them, why can't they do that with the shield? I'm wondering though if that is actually just a buff because it eliminates the ability to target it with Scream when you're moving it back and forth. So. I like the idea. I think it changes it because it seems silly that the shield has power and can get buffed from other stuff. It's just a shield. So I don't know. That's my thought is remove the ongoing and make it just equipment.
Toxic.
I don't know. I would probably go a little bit more in just to see how the stat-wise he would change if we just play around with that. Maybe shield just gives +1, but we go up with his base attack just to see how it turns out. Otherwise, do like an old... Was Angela ever 2-0? Like, do like an Angela...
She was a 2-0 +2. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do maybe like an Angela thing. Just slowly get down because I know we need like good 2-drops in the game, but it's a little bit too much. Like, I see the shield on board and I just want to go again, lay in bed and cry because it's like either Scream or something annoying. And I'm kind of tired of it, seeing him like every second game. And his play rate is a little bit too much.
There's plenty of Thanos nowadays. Come on.
Even Thanos with Supreme, who eats the shield, plays that card.
True.
I've seen him in Thanos.
And the Thanos ongoing is running him, right? Yeah, okay, fine. He's in everything. Barrett?
Yeah, I would definitely say I'd like to see him nerfed because he's such a generically good card. Like, I've seen hella decks that were just like, I'm going to play this as a 2-drop, and some games I'll have like a 2-8 or something. And I'm like, especially when it was like a 2-3. Now it's a bit less of like just every deck is playing him, but it's still, he has so much synergy with ongoing, move things, Captain America, Kraven, Strange Supreme. It's just like, it's so hard to like build a deck and then just be like, oh, Sam Wilson also like isn't just a good card. Like actively, some part of him synergizes with the deck. But that being said, I do like him like having that effect game start add the cap shield, and I like that having a point of power. So if I did nerf him, I would want it to be, yeah, like I think a 2/1 would be fine, where it's just like this card is not going to be, getting to Athena levels of power just by playing it on 2. Like you just actually have to make him work in with the other parts of your deck, or maybe lower that +1 power. But I think I would start with like a 2/1.
So what I want to do is take him out of some decks, and I can't 100% figure out how to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to take him out of all decks, but I want to take him out
Exactly.
of some decks. But, like, so here's the thought. What if the whole ability was on him? He doesn't work with Steve Rogers anymore. I know that's annoying and messes with the theme, but the whole ability is on him. You could move Cap Shield when you play him, and he gets the +2, but the shield has no ability. It's not an ongoing, so it doesn't benefit from Spectrum or Steve Rogers or anything else. That at least takes him out of like half the Thanos decks and takes him out of the ongoing decks, and now he's just a Scream card or a move Scream card, and I guess the other Thanos, which I can't really figure out what to do with. Maybe we add a can't be absorbed to it, the shield. Right? Like can't be destroyed or absorbed. And the whole ability goes on him. Does that make any sense? Or is that too much?
No, yeah.
I actually think that can't be absorbed would just be a buff for the Strange Supreme decks.
No, I want to eat that shield. Like, no, because on curve, Strange Supreme is a 2/12. Right, like if you play him on curve because of Sam Wilson, because you're very unlikely to generate anything on turn 1. So like if you play him on turn 2, that's how he's a 2/12, right? So like it would turn him into a 2/10 fundamentally. So like the shield being absorbable is a buff. You're trading 2 power for 1.
I also think it could be interesting if it was like something instead of ongoing moving the cap shield, it's like whenever you play a Captain America, move the shield here. So it just happens the once. He's like a 2/3, he jumps up to 2/5, and then if you play the other Captain America, it jumps over to him. It's kind of doing the same thing, but you're not just like, and this is going to be 6 moves from my Batroc and my Kraven, and giving the power around, and all I need to do is play this on 2. It would also be better to play Cap not on turn 2. They probably have to give him his point of power back, but
you have to place Sam on the shield lane to be ready to move the card. So you lose even on 2 1 extra buff, and the later you play him, it's still fine. And maybe just I know it's hard, but don't make him like a deck extern card, so it's not getting cheaper by Mockingbird.
Yeah, I think you're just gonna have to deal with the Mockingbird. I like the idea if you just play him, he moves to the location and gets like I'd even be okay with him like the shield giving him being a 2/3 +3 at that point. You get a 2/6 if you play him, you get the extra power. If not, you don't.
Yeah, you get a move, get a little extra power, and it's not synergizing with 50% of the cards that Marvel Snap has come out with.
Yeah, I hear it.
But would that just kill him though? Like that's the question.
I don't think so. I still have plenty of use out of that one shield, right? That I'm still getting on the board. And like he's still a 2/6. I'm just not doing stupid things with him. Like it takes Graven out of his decks.
Mockingbird would still synergize. Still probably, depending on how many ongoings, you could still make it work with like Spectrum, potentially. Strange Supreme.
It's no longer like it takes it away from like the Captain Carter synergies. It pulls it out of, or at least reasonably likely pulls it out of a few Surfer decks and stuff like that. Just pulls it out of decks. Makes it I like it.
Yeah.
Any further Sam thoughts? Or are we good?
I think we're good.
Loki. 1/2. Replace your deck with your opponent's starting deck. Give those cards -1 cost. Are we happy with Loki now? Because I'm not. But like, is everybody else? So are we buffing it? Are we nerfing it? Are we errating it? Are we leaving it alone? Nick?
I don't know. This one's tough because the current iteration of Loki and the Thanos decks seems to work pretty well, and I think the trade-off to benefit is pretty even. There is still some benefit to having him around. I wonder, does he need to be ongoing as well so that you can end the cost reduction without having to have Mobius in every single deck?
You already have 2 cards that do that because Gorgon does it too.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Toxie? Oh, sorry.
No, that's I don't really have any take on Loki at this point.
I would like to see. Loki is like a hard card because if he's meta relevant, people really start to hate on him. But I would like to see something, some kind of buff to him. Because right now it's most likely just, play it in Erisham or play it in Thanos and play like stones afterwards just to draw the cards. I don't really see a lot of generic otherwise Loki decks. And I forgot the name of the card. I feel like it's in with the Fantastic Four. It's an upcoming card that gets like +1 if your hand is full. Just something like that with Loki thank you. That could be good with Loki. And I really liked him back in the days where you can just swap your whole hand. People played Dinosaur. It was a fun time, but it's really hard to find anything that's not too strong. There's a reason why Loki got like touched 3 times now from Second Dinner, and he's still not fixed and
More
fine.
than that. I think it's like 6 or 7 times.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to see some kind of buff.
Her?
I would say leave it alone unless you're willing to like replace the replace part of Loki. As funny as that sounds, but to me, like, I hated the old Loki. That was the most frustrating card, and I also really disliked how it affected every single card that generated cards into your hand going forward, because that seems like such a thing that every season's going to have a card that does that, and we're getting more and more. Like, Kate Bishop was finally the card where they're like, we can't have Loki anymore. And they were, because I remember like Kate Bishop was the best card in the game for months after she released, and before she released, all anyone was talking about was this card goes in Loki, because any card that put anything in your hand was only balanced around Loki existing. So I don't want to see old Loki. I think if they want to keep this whole like, oh, he's the trickster god, so he's going to replace like your deck with their deck or something, I think this is a fine way to do it. Yeah, you could maybe use a little bit of a buff. I'm not sure how. I mean, maybe you make him a 1/3 because it's kind of a downside, but I think it's kind of fine with this whole replace effect. Unless you completely want to rework him.
That's what I want to do. Can we just fucking redesign this card? Like, it's either bad or it feels bad. There's not like an in-between. It's either like completely terrible or it feels like complete shit. Why is this in the game? Like, what is it adding?
Yeah,
we need cards that get some emotions from the player base. We need bad cards that people start to hate on.
Sure, I promise you, Second Dinner will design plenty. Like, can we just do something? I don't even care what. Just complete, like, we've seen 10 million fake Kangri designs, right? Pick one of those and slap it on Loki. Like, Loki should just be a brand new card. Make it a 3/5 that does something, or whatever stat line. I don't care. Take this card, burn it to the ground, start from scratch. Every idea with this card has been a failure in some form or fashion.
I like the idea of making it like that new Doom champion skill, where it's like all the cards you play this game become Doom bots.
Loki.
Yeah, you make Loki like a 1/2. It's all the other cards you played becomes Loki, and maybe give it like a Doom effect too, where they're like 1/0s, but all buff each other because it's Loki and the multiverse. Something like that would be cool, where it's like,
the perfect Loki might be just Mysterio, right? Like if you just made Mysterio and it was Loki, right? Like it's just oops, right? Like that feels very Loki. There's there's 2 clones. One is the real one.
Loki should just be like the start of the draft mode. Like Loki, start of the game, draft a new deck and reduce its cost. and you just have like your draft mode as Loki.
You could do well. That's Arishem, but
yeah, but you choose like out of 3 cards, always 1 card.
Yeah, how do you?
I don't know. I want to do draft and Loki.
So can it do something with Thor?
Well, I guess
like shuffle a card into your deck instead of pull a card from your deck, get a card with 1 higher power.
You could maybe do that with the Loki where it like replaces himself, where like you play a hammer and then you play a Loki and then it turns the hammer into the Loki.
Yeah, turn another card at this location into Loki, repeat as long as there's any cards with less power than Loki.
Yeah, something.
Like, right? Like 3/5.
Yeah.
This way it's not crazy. That would be a 3/20 at most, right? Like, I mean, it would be a 3/20, a lot, but now you have to like work toward it. I don't know. I'd do something. I don't. Loki is too cool of a character, too important of a character to be this. Like, they shouldn't let Thanos be bad. I don't want Thanos to be what Thanos is. The problem is it's seemingly impossible for Thanos to be anything but either bad or this, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's a design thing. Same thing for Loki. Loki should be designed so that, like, he's not this, but he's not bad. Fair?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Patriot. Is they nerfed him, and basically what I'm asking is, fundamentally, was the nerf good enough? Does he need to be nerfed again? Has he gone so much that he needs to be buffed? Let's shake up the order. Let's go Parrot first.
Okay. I think leave it the same. I like that after the nerf, it feels like you can't just play him in literally every deck, because if you just put him in an empty lane, you already have 3 points and you're almost guaranteed. Like, he kind of needs more of the Rocket and Groot, or like a Juggernaut or something to like guarantee you're going to win that. Because I know they nerfed the cost, but it feels like with nerfing that cost, it's not just like, oh, I'll play this Iron Patriot and sometimes I'll have a free 4-drop. It's like you actually kind of want a deck either like Victoria Hand or to really build around Iron Patriot.
Sucks.
I like him. I would leave him like that because Iron Patriot switched away from I will just dive to win this lane to now I really have to rethink. Do I want to put expensive resources like a Juggernaut onto this lane to get like the cost reduction? Is it really worth it? Now it's just like if I want to get like the 5-drop -3, how can I adjust it in my proper play line if you see like your other cards in hand? I don't see him at all. Like I didn't see it in Thanos anywhere. Like I don't know which deck is playing currently Iron Patriot, except for maybe some Kitty Fina decks. But he is now fine. I like his play rate right now.
Yeah, I think I agree with Toxie. I think he's fine. He's there. He's still powerful, but I don't think he has that same stranglehold over the meta that he did.
So can I offer a counterpoint or a concern? If Sam Wilson is nerfed out of existence, what you doing on 2? Right? Like, this is immediately back to its old play rate.
Yeah.
Like, I think this needs to be a 2/2. Like, whenever they nerf Sam, I think this needs to be a 2/2. At least that's my argument. I don't know for sure, right? Weird things happen. I thought when they fixed Nihilus, when they fixed Sentry, Nihilus would go back to play rate, and he didn't because the things had moved enough. Maybe things have moved enough, but like, if I can play Sam or Iron Patriot on 2, I usually want to play Sam. Right? Sorry, go ahead.
Wouldn't he still be at the same play rate even as a 2/2 if Sam is gone? Like I feel like at this point,
I don't think so.
You don't think so? I feel like
I think a 2/2 is rough. Like, I think he'd still be played as a 2/2, but like, what are you following him up with outside of Juggernaut if he's a 2/2? Now you better be running like specific things, right? Because your Rocket and Groot, if he's a 2/2, is now like 6 power in a lane. I can beat 6 power in a lane on 3.
Yeah.
7 is where it starts to get iffy.
I actually love that idea, but I would maybe even go one further and say that if we're doing all of that, which I think we probably should, maybe even look at like Kate Bishop. Like look at like where like the power creep started and when all of a sudden these just generic decks kind of came out, and like go back to where Jeff is at least a consideration. You know, like I feel like Kate Bishop knocked out Jeff, Iron Patriot knocked out Kate, and then we had Sam knock out Iron Patriot.
Oh, can I give you an Esme Cuckoo hot take?
Yeah.
Wiccan is going to be wild with her.
Ooh.
So, like, that's going to increase Kate's play rate. You know how hard it is to draw Wiccan? But if I don't draw Wiccan, I can just play Esme on 3, fill out my 3 curve, and sometimes I just get a 3-4 Wiccan. I'll take the shit out of that.
Yeah, I mean, Kate Bishop is really good, but I think the only reason that she doesn't see play is because Iron Patriot came out, and then the only reason we're not seeing so much Iron Patriot is because Sam Wilson came out.
2s are the best spot in the game.
Yeah.
I don't think you can take Kate out. You can make Kate a 2/2 also. I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
but like I don't know
or
if
like
you
just
can,
make Acid Arrow -1 instead of you know, like something tiny.
I don't think Acid Arrow is as good as players think Acid Arrow is. I don't know for sure, but like everything I've heard whenever I try and bug people about it that know more than I do is always like, I don't know, are you sure Acid Arrow is the one you're concerned with? And I'm always like, you trying to tell me something without telling me something? So like, I don't know. I'm not like, because Sizer used to be like, Acid Arrow is the best card of the game. Right? So I used to like try and, you know, poke around about that. And I'm not sure it's as good as we think it is. I haven't gotten an answer for the record, but like implications.
Yeah, I just think, like you said, the 2-drops are the best spot in the game, and it's not even affecting like 2-drops. Like it's even like we're looking at Fei, and it's like, oh, this is cool. But what about when turn 2 flips up? What do I want, Fei in my hand or any of these great 2-drops?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Oh, 2s need a nerf. Yeah, I agree. We all good?
Yep.
We are on card 4. We're moving reasonably well. This is a big one. Captain Carter was recently buffed to a 3/2. She good?
Yeah, she was. A little too good.
Okay, so Nick, is that Nerf then? Toxie?
Yeah.
Yep.
Nerf?
Nerf.
Parrot?
I'd leave it the same.
Why?
My only thing with Captain Carter is that it's Surfer, right? Like Surfer and I guess Moonstone, but really Surfer is the reason why we're like Nerf. But it's like, it's almost, I want to call it the Surferification of 3-drops, where when they don't know what to do with it, or if a card's not working, they're like, oh, it'll work in Surfer. And I just feel like we're getting to the point, especially with some cards that are in the data mine, where I'm like, do I even want to run Shaw in my Surfer deck? Because they're just making, I don't think a lot of people, like, that card is made for Surfer, but they're just pushing every card into Surfer. And it's like, I like Captain Carter for like buff decks. I think it's fine with Spectrum. I think it's like good. It's just it's the Surferification of these 3-drops, and I'm like, I don't like the Stranglehold, and I love Surfer decks. There's so many different ones. I don't want anything to happen with Surfer, but it's like, I think that's the only reason that I would want this card nerfed. But if you make it like a 3/1, like, that's huge nerf for every deck, especially unless it's Surfer. And if you do anything with the cost, I mean, you could make it like a 4/2. Yeah, 2/1. But
I would like.
I think 2/2 knocks this out completely, though.
Whoa. Do you think 2/2 is bad?
Well, you can't get the Surfer buff at the end, which.
But then you just don't play it in Surfer. You play with Moonstone.
No, it's true. Yeah.
Right? You play with Moonstone and still an ongoing. You still play it in Spectrum. It just takes it out of Surfer. It wasn't in Surfer 2 weeks ago. I think 2/2 is probably too good, just for the record.
Let's say 2/1 and we see more hand buff decks.
We can't.
Yeah,
it doesn't exist. They're not going to do that for a season pass card.
Yeah.
Like, it is.
She's so weird, though.
She's hard to use.
Yeah.
Genuinely hard to use. Because you don't actually want to play her on 3 most of the time, right? Like, unless you're forging into her. Like, you want to play her like turn 5, which limits her deck styles to decks that aren't especially popular right now. But when those decks are popular, she seems a little OP. But Juggernaut really fucks her up good.
True.
Like, more than most.
It's just like the fact, as a 4-drop, she's too weak. As a 3-drop, she's too strong. There's more like the question, is her design just too bad to not have enough space around buffing and nerfing her? Like, that was like the thing I thought about her. Like, if you don't have at least a little bit of space between that, because we saw the gap between a 4 and a 3-drop now.
What if she's a 4/5?
What if she's a 4-drop that buffs the front row?
Well, then I think she's too good again, right? But wait,
you think so?
But like, if she's a 4/5, she's playing for 4. Like, don't even make it an ongoing. Make it a static ability, so we cut out all the bullshit. But if she's a 4/5, she's playing for 4/15.
Yeah.
We got that. We have those, right? But they all require extra investment, which she still would.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically Miss Marvel.
Yeah, except one lane. You get to go real tall in one lane. Good luck winning, and I can still disrupt where she is and what happens.
So we would just see a bunch of Zabu running around again to have a 3/5. Yeah.
We're getting a new Zabu and no one's noticed.
Which?
Surge. Surge is new Zabu. Right? Like,
or
half
Mr.
of what
Fantastic.
Or new Mr. Fantastic. Yeah, Mr. Fantastic hits one random card in your hand. I don't think that can be good.
Yeah.
Well, like, if I can play Surge on 2, it's going to hit the next card I draw. That's basically when I want it. I'm trying with Zabu most of the time to play a 4 on 3, right? Like, one of my goals, I want to do 2 4s on 6 and 1 4 on 3. But, like, even then, like with Galacta and stuff or Gwenpool, I'm trying to get the 4 out earlier, not later.
Yeah.
Surge does what Zabu does. Except has extra benefit. And costs double.
But it also requires you to play that card in order to keep that going. And some of those times...
Doing it once is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about doing it once. If I play Galacta, I don't really give a fuck. If I play Galacta on 3, I'm snapping. I don't really give a fuck if... Like, in no way, shape, or form does it matter if I got that buff again. If you tell me I can play this on 2 and play Galacta on 3, like, I'm pretty happy.
Fair.
My 4/6 Galacta again.
Yeah, but then you hit the Shang in your hand.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Well, but even when you get that Shang, now you have a 3-cost Shang for the last turn, and I can play it with my Juggernaut.
No, but yeah,
like that's one of the reasons I play Zabu too. Right?
Yeah,
like,
but yeah, that's what it's weird with like the Zabu synergy because Zabu Surge does but doesn't help you with this turn 6. Definitely helps you with the ramp. Like if Doom 2099 was everywhere, still.
I feel like I would be just so frustrated. Like imagine your opponent plays like Zabu Surge, and we said like 2-drops are like the most important stuff, and he just throws like 2-drop 4 energy stuff into your face.
Like I can, if we can get that kind of thing going consistently, I think Surge is going to be great, and if we can't, I think Surge is garbage. And I don't really think there's much in between. So fun. I think Surge is definitely a sour card, but we can come back to Surge in a few weeks. For the time being, does Captain Carter's a 4/5 completely fucking insane if she's not an ongoing?
I mean, I think
you could do a 4/4 honestly.
Couldn't play it.
Yeah, but like I actually don't even think she was as bad as she seemed as a 4/3. She just wasn't great, but like maybe she just needed that actual payoff for hand buff that isn't Lasher or
that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
What if she's like she keeps her ongoing stuff. She's like a 4/5, but besides her normal ongoing effect, she can't get buffed by any cards. So you can like rogue and enchant with the card, but she can't get buffed like by a spectrum, by anything. So she has like a downside with her.
It should also can't be buffed or reduced then.
For example.
I could live with that.
Yeah. I think that would be interesting. I think that's something that could work on a few different cards, just limiting its ability to go too crazy.
Because I kind of want to keep her ongoing, because you can enchant with rogue her. but I don't want to have her with like Spectrum playline for a lot of stuff, or like now 3-2 Surfer.
I don't hate, just for the record, I don't hate her as a 3-2. I don't think she's broken Surfer or anything, right? But again, I think a part of that might just be the Thanos warping effect.
Yeah.
And even Thanos is playing her.
Some versions. Yeah, I mean, Thanos plays everything. Remember what, like, there was a time when, like, they just kept releasing cards and every card they released was a Thanos card, and then like it was like, are all these cards the problem or is Thanos the problem?
Yeah, I think they've done that a couple times when they're like have a great idea for a season or get some card effect in their mind and they all go into the same deck and they all buff the same, and we see like month after month, and then the deck just gets better and never falls away and people get so sick of it even when it could have been fine.
Yeah. All right, so I'm fine with it staying as a 3-2 at least until we see how other things shake out. Like if Sam is significantly worse, I think that really does hurt her.
Yeah.
I think it's put in between a rock and a hard place as far as how you can adjust her without ruining her and screwing everything up, right?
Well, we came up with at least one option. The 4 or 5 can't be ongoing, can't be reduced or increased. I think is pretty damn good.
Yep. I think that's about as good as it can get.
Awesome with Brood still, though. Dinner. Yeah, let's go. Let's call second dinner. Get him on the phone. Let's call guest. He'll find him. All right. We've got White Widow. So a few cards I picked that were obviously like either buff or delete. White Widow is one. I basically was like, what were some of the cards that were the best card in the game for a little while that are now complete garbage? And that's White Widow. I'm gonna read White Widow because I have a feeling some people who are newer might not even know what this card does. It's a 2/2 on reveal. Add a Widow's Kiss to your opponent's side location. The Widow's Kiss is a 0/4. 0/4, right? It should probably be like a 0/10 at this point. If the opponent fills this out of location, it just immediately blows itself up. Doesn't even wait a turn. So, White Widow. What?
Errata.
Errata?
Errata, yeah.
Yeah, go. What do you want? What do you do with it?
Okay, I think I would love to see, even when I first saw this card, I was like, how cool would it be if the Widow's Kiss was like afflicting your opponent's cards there, right? Like you keep it gets destroyed or whatever, but your opponent plays a stone out, you play this, and it's like at the end of each turn, afflict all the cards here -2 power, and then destroy it if it's filled. So they have to play into the lane to destroy it, but it's also lowering their power there. So yeah, could they just like drop all their cards there and blow it up? Sure. But if they have a card there, or if they are like, oh, I don't want to play into that lane, it's going to afflict, and then you can play a debris or something, give it -2 power. I think that could be a really cool dichotomy for a card.
That has to go on your side, because otherwise that's completely broken.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that, like, yes, I think Clog would be right back to being like...
But if it still destroyed itself just how it does.
Sure, I just think that if I have a lane that, like, everything my opponent plays there gets -1 or 2 a turn, I'm going to win that lane anyway.
But are you? Because that's like, if you get 2 procs on it, let's say they have a card there and then they wait till turn 4 to drop 2 cards, that's a 2/4, right? Like, it's not super crazy. Even if it was -2, it'd be like a 2/6.
Okay, so that's either broken or not good enough. Right? Like, and that's like, I don't know if I want that to live in that design
even
space.
like afflict decks that just like any card that's afflicting any amount of power is kind of like good, where I'm like, okay, maybe it branches out a little. It's a little bit of Clog. It actually adds a little bit of tension with the card where your opponent's like, do I start playing into there so I can... And it's doing what old White Widow did too, right? Where it's kind of punishing the decks that are playing 1 card a turn, which don't really exist, but I think that's what old White Widow was supposed to do, where it was like, oh, you're not able to fill a location? Well, this is a 2/6 then, while like still not being as crazy, or like they can Shadow King it and stuff, but I think it would bring it back.
Toxie?
Oh, I remember the pain when everybody just played freaking White Widow. It was just like, hey, We are both playing White Widow on the same lane. Have fun. We are trading. I was thinking about. I don't know if it's like a good idea to go with stuff like that. But what if she would be like some kind of Iron Patriot? Like the loser on the next turn gets a Widow's Bite. So it has a downside for you and for your opponent. It would be like a bit more interesting to see
but your opponent's just going to play a Goblin there. And now you're clogged.
Happens. Like, I don't know. That's like the only idea I had for if she should keep like the Widow's Kiss shooting around. Otherwise, she's just maybe like rework her in some way possible.
What if instead of on my idea, instead of at end of turn it afflicted, it was when your opponent filled this location, destroy this and then give them like minus power or something. So your opponent can then choose, do they want to destroy it, or because then it's not really, it's either a little bit of a clog card or it's not, and it's a little bit of a power card.
So maybe I'm so scared of clog being OP, and I think we might be inching up on it again. Okay. What's the location that gives -1 at the end of each turn?
Jotunheim.
Jotunheim. What if it went to your side but was Jotunheim for your opponent's cards?
I would like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get a 0/0, so you're taking up 2 slots, right? But now that is Jotunheim. Like for your opponents.
Yeah. It's not, that way it doesn't have the clogness, but it
makes you susceptible to clog, and it can still get blown up if they fill up the location, but now they've taken that penalty.
Yeah. I actually really like that.
Toxic's not convinced.
I don't know. It's like an interesting idea. I feel like it could be like really punishing for some decks, like giving your opponent just like a Jotunheim there and like, I get clogged, but have fun with like a turn 2 Jotunheim on maybe a big lane for you. I don't know. I'm still not a fan of the Widow's Bite. I got beaten up so often by this card back in the days. I just have like a bad time. Like I shiver when I see her smiling at me. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. We could just say like let's remove this. Might be, just for the record, this might be my least favorite card in the history of Marvel Snap.
Yeah.
I like your Jotunheim idea.
Thank you. I like my Jotunheim idea too. I didn't have it before we started talking, but your idea led me to the Jotunheim idea. Nick, any thoughts?
Yeah, this is a hard one. I've tried to think about how she can be reworked since she was nerfed to hell and back, but I don't know. I think the Jotunheim version is probably the best thing that I could think of. Otherwise, just delete her and pretend that she never existed in the game, or fundamentally full on redesign her. Was that a kiss for me, by the way? No one else saw that, but I did.
My wife came to blow me a kiss connect.
Yeah, no, I don't have much to say about this one. It's not a fun card. I don't like it. Dragon played it against me, and I didn't enjoy that either.
Fair enough. Let us move on. We spent longer than I thought on that one. All right. I wanted to wait like till we were halfway through. We gotta nerf Thanos again, right?
It's so hard.
It's like 60% of the fucking high infinite meta, which means it's a matter of time before it's 60% of the meta.
It's always the same. Like, I remember every time I had the least fun in the game, Thanos was around. The 3 monos with Cull and Blob just took so much pleasure. Now again with Strange and all the ongoing stuff and the different pathing you can go. It's so hard because Thanos is like probably one of their most known Marvel villains, even for not people that really care about Marvel or know anything about it. They need to have like cards like that, and I really like that he's like his own archetype. Like it's not like, okay, like you buy Thanos for yourself. It doesn't matter which collection level you are. You can do anything with him. You can play Zoo with him if you are like low collection. You can do like the crazy stuff we can do with him. On that thing, it's good, but the support card around him just make him too strong. Like a Mockingbird for 0-9 is just too much. I feel like he has way too much support around him.
Thanos is a card that I think is kind of hilarious in the balancing of him, because I remember when they were like, hey, we're starting some stuff, we're changing some stones around, we're leading to a new Thanos where you're going to actually want to play the Thanos. Everyone was like, okay. And then they buffed it a little bit, waited a couple months, buffed it a little bit, because I've been playing Thanos since that happened, and I remember we hit a point a couple of buffs ago, and I'm like, guys, this is actually pretty fine. Like, it's not as good as it was, but like, they're there, and everyone was like, oh, wait for the other shoe to drop, wait until they finish that Thanos buff, and I'm like, no, like, we're there. Like, the stones aren't that bad. They're like, when you play that 520 Thanos, like, it's actually pretty good now. Like, the stones having 2 power, like, they've done a lot, and everyone's like, oh, when's the Thanos rework finishing? When's the Thanos rework finishing? And then they gave him 2 points, and I still saw so many people like, when's the Thanos finishing? And now he's everywhere, and it's like, yeah, I think he was fine a couple of buffs ago. I don't think he needed a ton. Everyone's like, oh, I just think a lot of people weren't playing him, and the decks that were like, I was playing Destroy Thanos back when Misery came out, and that deck felt good. If it was winning, it had a pretty good. It just wasn't taking over the meta, and they gave him a little bit more and a little bit more, and then a couple synergy cards like Sam Wilson with the ongoing stuff, and Strange Supreme came out, and then everyone was like, oh wait, this is actually great. So I don't think he needs. I think he was actually pretty fine, but the 12 power and a couple of buffs to the stones was actually huge for him.
I have a hard time trying to say to nerf him. I know he needs a nerf, but it's nice when Thanos is finally in a spot to where he's usable. But it's kind of like, I think it's similar to Captain Carter. I think it's similar to Loki, to where they'll make a change, they'll make him really good, and then he'll be way too good, or they'll make a change and they'll nerf him, and then he'll be unplayable. And it doesn't seem like there is a middle ground of where he can be usable. Like, I agree, this is a card that should be stronger than your average card. He's a big bad. He came out at the time where he and Galactus were the big bads. But like, it was different with the Arishem meta because there was a lot of work that you needed to do to get the cards that you like. You were adding so much more to your deck that you were in a bit of a rough place right at the start. But now he's just on his own with nothing else. You know, there's the 2 big shells right now are the ongoing shell and the Strange Supreme shell. And both of them are ridiculously powerful, and they're all you see. They've become what Arishem was in Conquest. It's all I saw when I was playing Conquest the other day. I don't know how to fix him without ruining him or without keeping him too OP. I don't know if you need to reduce the cost of the stones. They can't be removed. Maybe it's similar to that other situation where they have to stay on the board, but is that a solution? I don't know.
I would like to see the legendary stuff again, like the legendary card text, and just like key cards not being able to play those cards together. Like, I don't know, maybe it's like the wrong thing, but do legendary to Mockingbird and Thanos, and let's see how he's doing without a 0-9 every game.
He's fucking fine without a 0-9, sir. Like,
it's like at least something. It's like a slow start to that thing.
So
I just wish when I had my Gorgon in hand and went, sick, I'm playing against Thanos, and then they turn 1 Mind Stone me, and then turn 2 drop 2 more stones, and I play my Gorgon, and I'm like, well, this Gorgon did nothing. They already drew half their deck, and they're gonna see more of it, and it's like, this is terrible.
So, a few things, right? Like, first, no card except maybe Loki, and like Loki you would have to be percentage because Loki came out like a year after Thanos, but like no card outside of maybe Loki has spent more time as like a broken tier 1 S tier 0 deck than Thanos, right? Like, Thanos came out and everyone thought it was bad for 2 months, and then it was completely broken for like 6 straight months. And then it was like okay for like a month, and then like 3 months, a month or 2, and then it was like great for another 6 months, and then it had like a down month, and then it had another like 4 months, and then it was nerfed for like 3 months, and now it's been now it's been great for a month and a half. Like, and that's not gonna stop. The two best decks in the game, there's a really, really strong argument that the two best decks in the game are totally distinct Thanos decks. They run 4 of the same cards.
I wonder if you revert all of Thanos' buffs to basically him starting in his hand. You take the point off the Space Stone, you take him down 2 points of power, you hit him with like all of the nerfs that he had to the stones when they first reworked him.
So he doesn't start in your hand anymore?
No, he still does. But he's a 6/10, and the Space Stone has a point off, and I think there was a stone that they, like Soul Stone, didn't have draw. I think those decks might still exist even. Like with Strange Supreme, all the support, Sam Wilson, like the ongoing stuff, I think you could almost revert like all of those with the support that he's gotten.
I would like to see like the Mind Stone back. Like you mentioned, like like Gorgon and Mind Stone is just like that. Or even like Mind Stone is like drawing you 1-drops, not like stones. So even harder to build your own deck.
I mean, can we just look, much like Loki, I think just redesign it. Make it really good. And I know that it's like one of the key archetypes. You can make it another archetype defining card. Take your time. But like, how many times are we going to do this dance? And we're going to genuinely, it's very hard to make card draw not completely busted in a game, with Thanos an 18 card deck. There's games where you have 50, 60 card decks where card draw is completely fucking broken. You have an 18 card deck with card draw, it's going to be really, really good. That's part of why I'm so convinced Esme Kuko is going to be nuts, right? Because even pseudo card draw is kind of insane. Think about how careful they are with card draw outside of Thanos.
Crystal.
And Morlock. And like, come on. And that's part of why Malekith is so good, right? Like, anything that draws a card is just crazy good. Thanos draws you a shit ton of cards. And then those cards have extra value. You know what you could do? You could make all the stone skills.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting, actually. That's something I hadn't considered.
Then it doesn't help Mockingbird at that point, right?
Mm-hmm. It wouldn't help Mockingbird. It would only be, but like, then when you play Thanos, he would get the benefit of X, Y, or Z.
The one thing I dislike about that is we've seen where Agamotto ended up, which was kind of low. Yeah, they would. The biggest problem I actually see with Thanos, and it's weird to say, is that Thanos has about 3 years of history in this game now, which means so many people are expecting a lot of different things from him now. People want him to be his own archetype. People want you to actually care about playing the Thanos, and people want him to be strong. People don't want him to be too strong because there's been times where he's been 60% of the meta, and no one wants that, and a bunch of people don't want that. But the people who like Thanos want him to still be really strong, and so he's like, when they find a good spot for him, which might be the same problem with Loki, is actually no one ends up happy because the people who want him to be kind of more pushed aren't happy because now he's a bit weaker and he's kind of fine, and the people who want him to be a bit weaker aren't happy when they have to play against him because they're sick and tired of the 6 months of straight Thanos that they played, where it's like, what do you do with this card now? Because now it's kind of where Arishem, I think, is now, where it's like, I think Arishem is probably in a fine spot, but because of how rough everything was, like, I hate that card, and I hate seeing it, even though I probably win 70% of the time I play against it, but I'm just like, I don't want to see this card anymore because of the history. And I think Thanos might be in that spot too, where it's just like, this card has so much history now where it's like, people just aren't going to be happy. They need to kind of maybe just look at like the win rate and stuff on the card and the play rate and try to get that down to a level.
I guess the big question is, what do you change to do that? And I think that's it, is doesn't seem like there's any fine tweaks. You adjust it and it kills it, or you adjust it and it makes it super powerful. There's
I vote skills and we see where it lands. Like,
I think that'd definitely be a novel way.
A bunch of 1-cost skills, they disappear. You're now spending your power without any energy. The ongoing synergy is gone. That deck is now poofed. The Strange Supreme synergy is gone. The Mockingbird synergy is gone. But you still have all this draw. And now, like, you're not doing anything to the stone, so that just seems like it could be really strong. I would at least try it. And you could even buff the stones at that point, right?
Yeah.
They could do more things. They could give him +1 power. They could do all sorts of extra shit at that point.
Yeah. I think it also kind of, like what I'm saying, like the history of it, like the current iteration has so much history now. Just like Loki replacing your deck or hand, like the replacement Loki has so much history. Half the people don't want to see it. Half the people want to see it back, where it's just like, I think you just gotta, if you're going to do anything, go a whole different way with it. And I think skills could be that.
All right. Enough, Mad Titan. It's time for Scream. What do we do with Scream? Anyone who wants to start. Everyone talk at once. Go.
Keep it.
Yeah,
Keep
leave
it? Wow.
Here's why. Here's why I want to keep Scream. Because Scream is single-handedly keeping Stegron, Spider-Man, Polaris, like all of these cards, some of them very iconic cards. And like, I think the problem with her is when she's a package card and you see Scream Surfer decks and you see Scream Darkhawk decks and Scream Thanos and Scream Afflict and like all these different Scream decks. But like, I want that move mobster, mobster move, whatever you want to call it, move your opponent's deck to be a deck because there's so many cards and Scream is the perfect card. Like that deck in and of itself feels fine to me. Like when people are just playing Scream into a Polaris, into a Stegron, into an Arrow, I'm like, okay, that's a fine archetype. That's no different than like the Bullseye discard. But when Scream is like such a good card in and of itself that she can prop up 14 other different like decks, so maybe she needs a point off or something. But I want to make sure that she can keep all those other cards going because she's single-handedly keeping like 5, including like Spider-Man, in this game.
I vote 2-0.
I agree, but I also think, like Parrot and Soul King are saying, I think she needs to exist in the game because if not, all we're going to see is move decks. I think she adds a fear into the heart of move players that they're like, do I want to deal with this? Do I potentially want to have to run with this? And I think it limits the play rate of those move decks. Maybe not a ton in the higher infinite levels, but I mean, I've also been seeing a lot of those move decks that just pack Scream along with it. And I know there's ways to kind of balance things out as far as what moves and how it moves. But I think 2-0, I think is fair. I don't think it's too much of a hit. And I still think she has a ton of power because, again, it's stealing that power. I've ended a lot of games with a -7 shield because I'm still trying to figure out ways of buffing Cap while, negating those hits on other cards too.
You know what I want to see? I want to see a -1 or like a steal 1, but
No,
it's not once per turn. So you can punish move, but usually how often can you move like an opponent card? Like you move like with Spider-Man Polaris on 5, 2 cards. So she steals 2. But you can punish your opponent that does like Ghost Spider Aranya stuff or like Fist Ghost Spider stuff. So she's still here to control move. But she's not punishing every other deck for moving their stuff and giving them -2/+2.
Right. I think the problem is that she doesn't actually punish real move decks because real move decks are moving too many cards. Right?
That's why I wanted to do the -1.
Yeah, so I don't want her to do the other thing though, because then she's just a tech card and her deck is dead.
Weirdly enough, I think her the biggest threat to Scream is Sam Wilson, because I think the reason why the package Scream works so well is because you can kind of account for 40% of your opponents planning on moving one card every game, so you don't need to fully invest into Scream. You can play Scream with like 2 enablers and just be like, oh yeah, there's Batrocs, there's move decks running. Like, she's just gonna be a great card.
So, point of reference though, since Scream came out, she's the highest win rate card in the game. 6 months before, 4 months, whatever it is, before Sam came out.
True, but they also buffed her in that time. Like, they brought her up to a 2-3 at some point.
Yeah, she's a 4 scaler.
But that's why I think, like, if you keep her at a 2-1, and if it's weird, like, if there wasn't Sam Wilson, if you weren't regularly expecting, then you'd have to really be building around her with those Stegron decks and with those Spider-Man decks. And I think those decks are fine. Like, yeah, when you get Scream on 2, those decks are really good, but...
So the problem is that there's just not enough of those cards. They don't, like, exist in terms of building a whole deck, right? Cards that move your opponent's cards that are remotely worthy of seeing play. Stegron, Polaris, Spider-Man, right? You can count Arrow if you feel like it, but you don't have to.
Cannonball.
Cannonball's not... That's not what Cannonball's here for. Thank you. Cannonball's a destroy card that sometimes moves shit. Right? Like,
but I mean, you play Cannonball with Scream.
Sure, Cannonball. 4. That's still 5 cards. So, like, even if you take Sam Wilson and Craven out of that deck, you still have 7 cards to play with.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it. Yeah, I don't buy it. And maybe, but like, I don't.
Well, but then that also could open it up for other packages to go into Scream. Like we saw, I think Doom 2099 was
Darkhawk is maybe the best Scream deck right now.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, I want to keep the Scream package. I just want to kind of hurt her enough that she's not a package.
I don't think you can. I think the only reason the package exists is because Scream is so good. I think so. Can I make an argument that comparing her to another card? If Madame Web is a 2/3, she's the best card in Marvel Snap. In the best deck. If Madame Web is a 2/2, she's like 10 times better than she is right now. What makes Madame Web effectively, like, she's still a great card. She's still one of the best cards in the game, right? But what makes her not a problem is that there's nothing that goes in her deck that prevents her from being Red Guardian. Scream needs to be in the same situation. Red Guardian can keep Scream under control. Red Guardian literally is the card that keeps Madame Web under control. Because Red Guardian is such a prominent tech card, Madame Web can't break. Because there's, like, if you have Red Guardian and they have Madame Web, unless squirrels happen, and even then you have a 50-50. Right? There's no other card that goes in that deck that's a 0 power card. Scream needs to be a 0 power card, so she's always the card that gets hit by Red Guardian, and then I don't think she's a problem.
I think it would also work too then, even like with a move, like if they play a Spider-Man, or because that happens sometimes even as a 2/1 where you're like, okay, like I'll try to Red Guardian, but something gets moved and ends up never hitting the squirrel.
Yep. Well, and like there's also just the annoyingness of like you put a shield in her lane, right? And now all of a sudden she's protected. You drop her in the shield lane and she's protected. But then like if they move their shield or you can get a move off, now she's bigger and the shield is smaller. If she's a 2/0 and you can keep Prio, and now it's really hard to win Prio with a 2/0, I think that basically solves her.
Yeah, I like the 2/0. Those.
No further thoughts?
No, I think 2/0 is a good.
He's not moving.
I'm thinking, maybe it's enough. Like, I'm fine with the 2/0. I'm thinking about, is there anything else we could do with her? I like her. Like, as I said, she needs to be in the meta to punish like all the move decks. She's not doing a real good job because they still move other stuff.
The problem with move decks is you run a whole deck around her moving things, and then all the stuff you're moving isn't getting any benefit because you're affecting them, but now your deck doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that's the one thing, like playing move into Scream, it's like, cool, now your Stegron is just Stegron. Like, now you're playing Spider-Man, but I was already going to move a card. I'm going to move 4 cards this turn, so you're not playing it for any benefit of playing Stegron, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start 2/0. Like, I don't think she's meant to be I don't think she is or can be the move tech card. I think she's her own deck centerpiece. We'll get the move tech card in a month or two, whenever that card comes out. I don't remember what it's called. T1000.
Like weird hands, yeah.
Yeah.
Quicksilver?
No,
something like that?
Quicksilver exists.
Oh yeah,
We'd have Quicksilver.
It was something like that. It was like something liquidy, like Mercury. Mercury, right?
Yeah, Mercury. Perfect. Mercury. Yes.
Holy crap! I did that. See,
Look
Quicksilver.
at that. Yeah.
Liquid.
Yeah. Quicksilver to Mercury.
Yeah.
So Mercury actually fucks up move. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like you drop a Red Guardian on that Madam Web, they got stuff in another lane. You drop a Mercury there, and it's just like, I win. Snap. Bye.
But isn't that the same thing we said about Gorgon back in the days? Like, oh, you play Gorgon, Thanos, and Irishman is not meta relevant, and we see it's still not that impactful enough.
I think I'm very curious what would happen if there were a powerful deck that could run Gorgon. Part of the problem might be that there's no good decks that actually can run Gorgon right now.
I mean, we kind of saw Gorgon see a little bit of play, but I think the Spectrum decks can play Gorgon. Like, I've played Spectrum and Gorgon, and it's actually felt good. Like, most games, it seems to have an answer, and it's a pretty good statted 2-drop. But
yeah, I don't know. It's worth looking into some more Gorgon. Like, I think Gorgon is severely underplayed. Gorgon stopped being played right as Thanos got stupidly popular, and I feel like we're all kind of idiots.
The deck I see Gorgon the most is just Thanos again. Like,
yes,
I see
Thanos countering other Thanos.
Yeah.
So, but like, that's the problem with Thanos. Not to keep going back to that, but Thanos is every deck. It's a Wiccan deck. It's a control deck. It's an ongoing deck. It's a big guys deck. It's a
destroy.
Yeah, it's a destroy. Like, Thanos is every deck, and it's probably the best version of almost every deck, right? Like, it turns out when you can draw a bunch of cards, your deck looks better.
Yeah. All
right. We're not even talking about Scream anymore. Jeff time. Jeff is formerly the best card in Marvel Snap. Quite a while, the best card in Marvel Snap. And one that no one ever wanted nerf. He was like perfectly designed, and then they power crept the living shit out of him. Starting with Kate Bishop, like, I don't have to relitigate every 2-drop they put in the game. But now, poor Jeff, when I see Jeff, I'm like, what are you doing? Are you just nostalgic? What do we do with Jeff?
Rework.
Can we just make him a 2/4?
2/4. Why can't he move at least twice?
Strictly better vision. Just make a move every turn.
I just want to see him to get a rework because the meta shifted away. It's not anymore the storm lockdown thing we saw back in the days when Jeff was played. Since all those, like, Prof X is not the Prof X it used to be. Storm is a 4-drop. Nobody gives a about Storm.
Oh,
so
I know what to do. Sorry, go ahead. I'll tell you after. Finish.
All the reasons we wanted to have Jeff in the deck to play him in not playable locations are gone. None of these decks are relevant anymore. So maybe just do some rework for him because. Do we need another card, or do we want cards like Nightcrawler, like Jeff, that can just move a little bit? Yeah.
Wait, ready? What if he can be played anywhere, including if you have 4 cards at the location?
I remember people were joking about that. It was that and being able to play him on the opposite side of the board.
I remember that too. What if like you could actually do that though? Like, I think I'd play him then, right? The only card in the game that could be the 5th card at a location.
I mean, that'd be cool.
But he has to be 5th. He can't be 4th and then you play another.
I'd rather like the idea that to clog your opponents. Like, he dives to your opponents and he clogs the lane, and you can pull him back anytime.
No, you can't pull him back. If you play him on your opponent's side, once he's there, he's there. He's theirs.
So he can't move them.
Going with what Toxie said, I think he probably does need a rework if they're committed to this whole no more anything close to lockdown. Yeah, because I think we didn't realize it at the time, but that was why he was seeing so much play. Like, we were like, he's just such a good generic 2-drop. But it wasn't even just the Professor X and the Storm, which he was great into, but also, like, at that point, there was like half as many locations and like a much higher percentage of them you just couldn't play into. Like, we had Plunder Castle, where you could only play 6-drops, and you had Morag that you could only play on turn 5, and there was like locations that you can only play cards with no ability. Like, they just kept adding these really restrictive locations.
Sorry. I've been watching the Knicks score in the background. and it was a fucking roller coaster. They just won the series.
Oh.
But they were up 10, then they were down like 7 with like 2 minutes left, and I was like, this fucking team. And like I just like refreshed the score, and I was like, oh, and now they won by 3 somehow. So okay, sorry about that. Go ahead. My bad.
Hey, that's fine. The Cavs are still playing the Pacers, so.
Well, they will be.
Yep.
I just dislike the fact you gave me flashbacks from such badly designed locations. I was so happy I forgot those. Now I have to think about them.
Can I argue?
That's why Jeff was so good, and they've really committed to not doing that anymore.
Can I argue that we still have lockdown? We just call it clog now.
Yeah.
It's the same play pattern.
It's the same play pattern, but it's like a different angle of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Because but Jeff is okay into clog, but Jeff was actually really good into Professor X and Storm.
You know how you make Jeff really good into clog?
No
fifth card at the location.
No.
It's good.
Yeah. That would be cool.
Do we really think...
in that situation, is there just a design limitation in the way Snap is designed? That just
how the hell would we know?
Yeah.
That's like the thing. Do we really think they will do a redesign of a thing if they can't even do anything with a dead card like Kang for 2 years now?
So they don't have to do anything with Kang. Everyone bought Kang. They got their money.
Yeah.
Jeff works as like a mascot to the game. Jeff being good helps Marvel Snap.
Yeah. My honest hope for Jeff, and it's probably going to be the unpopular opinion, is that now that we have so many cards and we have all these archetypes, we can maybe look back at like not 4/5 Storm. Like, I think Storm as a 3/2 was like my go-to example of this is a balanced card.
Sure,
and yeah, the Legion lockdown thing was terrible.
That has to go then.
Yeah. No, I'm not like, the Legion lockdown part. But like when this game came out and Storm was just the 3/2 that said both players need to commit here, or you can move stuff, like, or Dr. Doom, like that felt totally fine to me. And I don't want them to completely write out like a goose-like effect.
What are you deleting, Legion or War Machine, if you want Storm back, right? That's the question.
War Machine. Just make War Machine like a 5/10. Like, make him really good statted. You can still play your Infinite on 6 or with the extra energy Infinite and Ebony Maw, which is what people want to do, right? With War Machine 2. Just make him like a really well-statted 5-drop.
Make him to a 2-drop with Activate.
Yeah, but then he doesn't do anything for just like the random locations. 2-drop Activate War Machine, doesn't that still do the Storm thing?
You have enough time to Red Guardian in it.
Yeah.
It still leave the combo in. Yeah,
I just want that combo gone.
I'm like, just make him a really good statted 5-drop. Him being a 4-drop over being a 5-drop isn't like relevant besides his stats, unless you're doing a combo with Legion and Storm.
Even if we don't have, like, even if we had old Storm, and let's pretend for the moment that combo doesn't exist, I don't think that gets Jeff any more play than he has right now. We have 8,000 moving cards now.
Yeah. I mean, that is true, but I agree with you. I don't think just Storm down to 3-drop would bring back Jeff, but I think if they did some of the other, like they nerf Sam and they nerf Iron Patriot, and they if they weren't so afraid of lockdown, which I understand why. I'm not like, bring us we need a lockdown card every season. Like, no, please. But I don't think it should be as terrible as it is. The 2-3 lockdown cards: Goose, Professor X, and Storm.
What if Jeff could be like a kitty thing? Like he still has normal effects, but you can decide if you want him back in your hand or not.
That breaks Marvel Snap. Do you not remember what happened when they tried that with Kitty?
But everybody likes
everybody
Jeff,
liked it, except I also like when the game works.
What if Jeff said, when you move this, merge into another card?
I don't know.
Would that just be like a weird enough ability? Like he jumps in and like dives underneath someone, gives him 3 power, frees you better against Clog.
So is a Hulkbuster.
Yeah, he's just Hulkbuster at that point.
Some setup.
Yeah, you can play
and
him
all
earlier.
the Jeff stuff.
I vote for 5th at a location if that doesn't break the game. But I got nothing.
I think it would break the game, but I mean, honestly, I think a 2/4 would be fine.
I'd at least look at him as a 2/4.
Yeah. I honestly think Jeff's biggest problem is just nerf the other generic 2-drops, and suddenly I'm more interested in him.
Yeah, that's like the big issue of him. He's like a probably well-balanced card, so he's bad. That's like the thing about Snap. You see a well-balanced card, oh, nobody will play that anymore.
Yeah, the game got too good for him. All right, let's move on from Jeff. We managed to be like, we don't like him, but we don't know what to do. All right, Doom 2099. Holy shit, they murdered this, right?
Are we sad?
Yes. Yes,
Why?
Look, did I ever want to play Doom 2099? No, because they sold it to a shit ton of people. And it's really, really poor business practice to sell this card to 1 million people that are super excited about it. And a bunch of people like really enjoy the playstyle, even if I don't. And then they just literally murder it.
I can't say anything good about it. I'm happy. Like, I spend my tokens for him, and I'm happy that I don't have to play this card.
You have too many tokens. You're not one of those players who's trying to hang on.
I mean, it's like not. I don't want to be mean or something, but every player should listen to people. And if we see like a card that seems already too good for the thing, we can call it. It will get nerfed eventually. Maybe not like in the next week, but in like the near future, it will get nerfed. And Doom was like a card like that. Nobody would ever say like, "Oh, Doom is like completely fine set card." Like after 2 days, everybody would have called for some kind of changes.
My problem with this card,
Oops, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say my problem with Doom 2099 is I think they said it in their last OTA. I don't want to play a 5-drop into a 6-drop in most decks. Really, any decks. Like everything else is so good. Playing a 5-drop and it's like, when was the last time you saw like Legion or Vision? I'm never building a deck and just like, what's a generic 5-drop for my curve? Like you don't do that in Snap anymore. I think that they said they need to get some power back into 5 and 6 drops, and I think once we do that, maybe Doom comes in a little bit more, or maybe we can look at giving him some more power. But just like specifically the Spectrum decks are like the only deck I've ever seen this play, and that's also coincidentally really the only decks I see play a 5-drop into a 6-drop. Sometimes. They don't even usually play 5-drops. Maybe an Iron Man, but sometimes they're just like, oh, I drew my Sam and here's a speed or something.
What if Doom stays like a 4-0, 4-1, but like the other Doombots get a higher base stat line and get buffed? So we have again like the Red Guardian argument. I don't like
Ravonna.
that all nerfs and buffs we do is like just play Red Guardian, but maybe that's like the theme.
But Ravonna, right? Like that's why they didn't do that in the first place. Because then you have 3 ways to cheat him out early. Although we're about to have 3 ways to cheat him out early in like a week.
We do the same thing with Carter. Can't get reduced.
Yeah. I don't think so. We can't just add that to everything. That was our Carter redesign. What do we do to like? I think if this goes back to a 4-2 and the Doom bots are at 4-1, I think that was still very good, but I don't think it's a problem. I didn't think it was a problem before its last nerf. It was still good, but it wasn't like crazy.
I genuinely wonder if that was like a lower elo thing, where like they just couldn't compete with what he was doing, and like that's kind of what it seemed, because I was like, man, like I've seen this card, but it has not seemed unbeatable. But especially not even lower elo, but lower collection level. Like, if you don't have all the cards, if you're not building really well tuned decks, if you're like, I guess I'm gonna stick Rescue in this deck because I just pulled Rescue and she seems good, and your opponent plays that Doom 2099 and like any 5-drop.
Yeah. I think put it back to its last state is what I'm going with.
Yeah, I would. Or bring back Storm. Then I can play Storm into Doom 2099.
That seems healthy for everyone.
I just dislike the whole art design about it. Just like, oh, play a 4-drop on one, play the one card on the next turn, and play another card on the on. It's just like, I remember I told people at the beginning, get him if you're like low collection level because he's like fairly big. Yes.
Ready? You put him back to his original base when he was like OP and everyone's like, oh my god, but his cost can't be reduced.
Yeah, or just starting turn 4.
Yeah, starting turn 4, sure.
End of turn 4.
Mm-hmm.
So
the Airship solution, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fine. It's the extra turn that really fucks him up, right?
Yeah, especially when the Doom bots had so much power.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would probably be fun.
Isn't it still like a big tempo swing though if you just Doom 2099 then turn 6 Doom? Isn't it like still too much power?
Maybe. I'm willing to test that out though, right? Or you bump it up to its most recent nerf where it's the 4-2 with 1/1s, right? And you see if that, like with the can't be reduced, fixes it.
Take a point off Sandman too.
Take a point off Sandman too.
Because no one wants that Doom 2099 Sandman Dr. Doom, and you're just staring, trying to figure out if you can win. You're just staring like
one person.
I have to be able to beat these Doom bots somewhere. There has to be a way. And then I played Jeff again.
A lot of it was like he created a lot more 50-50s that like there was literally no skill or prediction involved in, right? Where it's like, does the Doom bot go here? I win. Does the Doom bot go here? I lose.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if you make 2 drops a little worse, and then if they get a little bit more power into some generic 5 drops, maybe he just comes back a little bit. But I would like to see that his last change reverted.
Fair enough. Yeah, I did it. Batroc. What are we doing? Are we changing Batroc or are we just leaving it alone? And don't give me any for now bullshit. Pretend he's out for a few weeks.
Damn, well, that's what I said. I was like,
too soon. Like, I know.
Well, I don't want to werewolf him. I really I love werewolf's my favorite card, so this is probably my second favorite card. And I'm like, I just let's make sure, but I probably make him a 1/1.
The last few weeks with Batroc were just pain. I don't know what to do with this. Everybody's just playing Batroc. I hate it now. I enjoyed the first 2 days with him. I can't deal anything with it now. Please, do it to +1 only and make him a 1/3. For my peace. I don't play this game for 2 weeks now because of Batroc. Better?
Yeah, sure. What are you going to do to him now? What's the nerf?
+1 and he gets to 1/3.
If you play him on 1, there's now 5 more turns, so he's still a 1/8, but that's his top end instead of 1/12.
It's like a start, yeah. And like if you do it too late or you don't have like an enabler on 2 or 3, it's like -4 or -2. So you need to really have like a good curve now with him to get like these big numbers. +2 is just like, okay, maybe you don't have on 2 something, but at least on 3 and 4 and start. So I would just go with a little bit of a dump of the power.
That actually probably sounds right. Nick?
Yeah, because otherwise I was thinking, increase his cost and dump his power down so he is not out as early and is not just, I'll throw him out because why wouldn't I? I think that's the problem with him right now is it's just like, okay, sure, it's a 1-drop. Even if I don't have anything to move at this point in time, let's get him on the board and
well, moving, he's ahead of rate, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I like the fact that
he's ahead of rate for a lot of 2s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am a bit upset at how this list was made because I'm just now, as I'm looking at this, being like, man, how many of these cards am I just like, if Sam Wilson wasn't in the game, like if Sam Wilson wasn't in the game,
What was the very first card we talked about for a reason?
Sam Wilson. And I was like, he's fine. I like his effect. I like his, maybe you take a little bit of points off him, but now I'm just like, man, I just don't want Sam Wilson in the game.
Surely we will talk next about Red Guardian. Like, he's our second argument about every buff and nerf we do.
Look, Red Guardian's so easy. Red Guardian's not on the list. Red Guardian should be a 3-2, not a 3-3. Is there any argument to that?
Unless you want him to be played as much as he is.
He still gets played as much as he is if he's a 3-2. I think he's just a little less, like, just good stats, too.
Pirates is 3-1.
Sure, Perry hates that card. Perry is just like, everyone should just go crazy playing combos. So, you know. But
I feel like if Sam Wilson isn't in the game, suddenly I'm looking at Jeff. Batroc doesn't seem as crazy. Like, so much of it.
Ooh,
we need to go so many.
Ika's idea is he only moves with your opponent cards.
So he's just a Scream card now and not anymore a Scream and Move card.
I kind of don't hate that. Because now it's like, again, there's only like 3 or 4 cards that move your opponent's cards. Or if your opponent is playing their own move, he's good against that too.
But don't we like cards that enable like more archetypes? Like, you don't got Scream, well, sucks to have Batroc now. Because you won't play Batroc only with the cards without Scream. So you now are forced to get these cards together.
Yeah, he's a 1-card. He's a 1-drop who's crazy powerful, so he goes in 1 deck. That tends to be how 1-drops that are crazy powerful work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't want generic 1-drops that are crazy good. That can go in everything. I like that change. Only moves with opponents.
I'm not so.
I think I like the +1 just because to me that puts him like meek levels, and I don't think anyone's complaining about meek.
Yeah. I'm fine with the +1 or the only moves with opponents. Either one of those are totally fine for me. I do like those changes, though.
Do you even play him with +1? Like, even with, like, Sam Wilson and everything? Like
1-3? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, 1-3, probably.
Like, if he's a 1-3, yeah. Like 2 moves and he's a 1-5, I'd play a 1-5. As we've seen. A 1-5 that can move? Huh, that sounds familiar.
The only interesting thing is if Sam would ever get changed, would we play a 1-3 that moves? Because, like, I feel like him and Sam is just, like, such a good team. Yeah. If Sam is, like, out, I don't know if people would really think about Batroc except of Scream.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think there's a bunch of, like, reasonable small nerfs that make sense for him, yeah?
Yeah. I don't think he needs as much.
As is. We're going to get sick of this card.
I told you, these last 2 weeks with Batroc, I feel so bad.
Can't believe there's no OTA in 2 weeks. This is wild.
Just take out Sam.
Now.
Take him out. Make him do the 1 move when you play him. The shield moves to him.
I like that. I like that change a lot. Card 11. Evolutionary. Again, cards that used to be like the best in the game. It's all the cards that are the best in the game now or used to be the best in the game. Evolutionary. I'm not reading Evolutionary. What do we think? Does anyone have any changes, or is Evolutionary just fine? Because I think Evolutionary Abomination is fine right now, but Evolutionary everything else is garbage.
The fact that he is in a deck with a single card, like, it's
turns
ridiculous.
Out 0-9 is a lot.
Yeah.
Is anyone against reverting all of his nerfs?
Nope. I love it.
The Wasp nerf, the Thing nerf, all of them.
Boo. But
no, do it. The Hulk nerf. The Hulk nerf is the big one.
Yeah, that one I think you could.
No, have it. We need big 6-drops. We need things to do.
No, it's true. That is true. Here's my actual. I think you just revert pretty much all of his nerfs, and he's fine. But I want to see a 7-drop with no ability. Give him a new one that actually works with it. That works with the shocker. That works I've been that's what I thought Red Hulk was going to be. I thought we were going to be like 7-15. There's a lot of ways to play a 7-drop now. Hella wants a 7-drop. Like 7-drops aren't what they would be when this game came out and when High Evo dropped.
Maybe I don't want that. I don't think I want Hela to be better. I disagree with you. No,
well,
thank
Scar's gonna be Scar's already there. Like it's not gonna
you. Sure,
push
but a
Hela.
715 is an awful lot better than a 712.
Yeah,
like
but
every little bit of extra power that Hela gets in that way is really, really, really big.
Okay, but they could make it like a 712 or 713, and then give it a cool ability with high evo. Like so many high evo decks used to be magic decks, right? Like you'd play that She-Hulk and then that Hulk. Maybe now we get that, Beyond or whatever 7-drop they want, a big 7 Terrax that does something that brings it all together. That's what I want to see high evo. Like Bruce Banner was not the lifter that high evo needed.
Nor was Luna.
Luna's in the better versions of the deck.
Agreed, but I don't think she has. I don't think it's enough to have. Yeah,
the deck doesn't exist. Yeah.
Revert the nerfs. We have Bruce. We have Luna, and then give us that 7-drop.
I'm torn on Wasp and Hulk. I think Wasp and Hulk can go either way. Thing 1000% needs to go back. It's ridiculous because he wasn't like good in the first place, really.
No,
so we weren't really like. He could hit the same card more than once, so you don't have to have 3 different cards.
So he was always a 4/9.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm fine with a 4/9. Are you kidding? We have 18 4/10s. Yeah, probably not old Wasp. I want the Hulk back more than I want the Wasp. A 0/3 is a lot.
Yeah.
Does High Evo just need to be melded in with the newer cards like Diamondback and Lao Fei and all of these other cards?
Ooh. Wait, leave them all alone. High Evolutionary gets Thanos' game start.
Hmm?
So he shuffles them?
No. He starts in your hand. And doesn't count as a draw.
It's so fine-ish.
Although the problem is I would run him in decks at that point with 0.
Would you ever not run him? Like, would you ever not run him in Wasp?
Well, he'd be in every deck because I would just be running him to thin my deck by 1.
That would be better than the Topaz effect, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, never mind. I take it back. This is not
I was trying to think of a way I wouldn't want to run him there, but
you just run him with 0 cards.
They need
an 11 card deck.
He lost his identity because he was really the first Afflict card. Like there was Spider Woman, and there was nothing else. And now we have the Ajax stuff. You don't need to play him. He lost that identity. His other half of the playing off curve and the Shocker stuff never materialized. The Misty Knight stuff was never phenomenal. So I think maybe lean into that side more.
Yeah, fix Hulk. Start with fix Hulk, fix thing. And then make Cyclops a 3/5 because it's stupid that Cyclops isn't a 3/5.
Why can't we just do like more stuff with like Shocker, for example? Like Shocker's reduction thing, just skip like the Wasp thing or the thing, and rely like on Shocker. Rely on Hulk and rely on Shocker. Like those cheating or like energy reduction stuff is like probably more interesting. Like I don't know. I don't like Cage at all. Like it's just like, oh, they play Cage or we have an issue. But getting like a completely new High Evolutionary that's like more for yourself and not like to interrupt your opponent's gameplay is probably way more interesting.
I mean, it doesn't make a ton of sense that High Evolutionary is taking power off opponent's cards. It's not really his thing, right? He's evolving his own stuff, so it's just like making it more buffs. Like Cyclops, as long as your opponent has 2 cards here, he gets +2 power.
I honestly think that the reason he has it is because 1, it wasn't in the game before him really, and 2, it was a super simple way to like, how do we turn these cards into more powerful without,
more power.
Without more power, because we can't, because they have to be, Cyclops has to be the same Cyclops as the High Evo Cyclops. Oh, we'll have them afflict their cards with -power. But now, like, we've
had it. Green power.
Yeah, like, we've seen them do other stuff. Like, was Misty Knight, right? Like, go into that more. Go into the energy thing. Make it more of a payoff.
And put Hulk back.
Sure. We do need more 6-drops, so.
I kind of
you pay the cost of running stupid Evolutionary, and you get a 6/16 for it.
I want my generic 7-drop too.
Fair enough. We're done. We fixed this card.
I kind of miss the times where a High Evolutionary just broke like the game. Like everybody bought that card. The server, people couldn't even buy him back in the days if you didn't buy it immediately. I kind of
Would
miss
Shocker
that.
be too good if it was end of turn ability?
Yeah, you can't. I don't think you repeat Shocker.
I mean, but it's so bad now doing it once.
It should be. It should be just something totally different.
If you floated energy, do it.
If you float energy, give -1. Yeah, I like it.
Wait, so you just Shocker and you She-Hulk Moongirl and you have like almost a free hand? You don't even need Quinjet?
Yeah.
No, Shocker's still only hitting one card, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. I thought like it goes.
So every turn you float energy, Shocker hits a card. You float energy for your Cyclops, Shocker hits a card. Your Hulk costs like 4 at the end.
I like it.
Either that or Activate. I know. Don't yell at me.
Wasn't even gonna recognize the statement. All right, guest choice. Pick a card that you want to be changed in some way. Don't say Mantis. That's boring. Pick a card that used to be either really good and is now terrible, or a card that is way too good now. Dead silence. This is the best radio we've ever done.
But I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna talk then. What if Colossus was a 5/10?
Colossus was a 5/10.
I think that would be a good card. Like, I think Colossus's problem, if you wanted to keep his ability exactly the same, and you want this simple, can't be destroyed, can't have its power, the problem is a 2/3 is terrible. No one wants to play a 2. Like, you don't want just, here's a 2/3, and it'll be a 2/3 for the next 5 turns. But if it was a 5-drop and actually had power, like a 2/3, you can't even put on Death's Domain because your opponent's just gonna like move a Jeff into. I mean, not Jeff, but like it's so easy for your opponent to just be like, Brood, that's 4 power, I beat you. Like
what if
a 2/3 just isn't good stats.
What if we just take Jeff and Colossus, and we have 1 card? Jeff with
the
armor.
Iron Shark.
Iron Shark. Let's go. We fixed 2 cards.
Yeah.
Plus, like, as a 5/10, there are, I think, no 5/10s for Surtur now that Arrow went down.
Ika had an idea in chat. How about if Colossus makes every card in that lane unmovable?
Can you imagine? Yeah. I saw that.
And I was just it has to be and can't be reduced at that point, right? Because the other part of his ability can't be reduced.
That would be.
I think that'd be really good.
Because they always.
Well, it takes away part of the Luke Cage thing that we've been dying to take away forever, right? To a card everyone has, so it's not like, haha, you don't have the Luke Cage answer and I do, so I win.
And that was 2-drop Luke Cage, right? I mean, not the move part, but it was like. So I can see it. Because I think they want that effect, right? And they've talked about like the lower series cards are like effects that we a lot of times want to have in the game because they teach new players and stuff. But I don't think that would ruin the card.
No, if you there's not even move stuff early.
Yeah, especially early.
And there's no Shadow King. None of that shit exists. I like it.
Yeah, I would like that for Colossus. It keeps him. You can keep him at 2. We've seen with Luke Cage, it's not too strong.
Like just that part of the ability, yeah.
Yeah.
Toxie, got one?
Yeah, I even wrote it down. I lost my paper, but I realized it again. What about Leader? Leader was like an OG card that ran around and had like crazy times, and now he's just like, I can't. Yeah, you wanted to say.
What do you want to do with him? What do you want to do with him?
I always wanted to have like some quests things in the game. Like you have to do some special abilities and then you get like the big outcome for him. Just like, I don't know, do something that you need to rely on and then you get like the effect out of him.
Oh, I have an idea. Wait, I have an idea.
Yes. Yeah.
The Wiccan ability where you have to spend all your energy all game, but then you get original leader.
Yes, something like that. Overall, just something like that would be so much fun to rely on something.
That was my Drewberry submission for the custom card was I think I had that for like Satana. where it was spend all your energy, play her, and then it would be like win this location, or if you just spent all your energy all the game, you could win just that location or something. Bring back old lead or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
God, the thought of bringing back old leader is...
But you have to spend exactly the right amount of energy every other turn.
It has to be telegraphed, too.
Like,
right?
Yeah, it's super telegraphed, and it's super hard to do.
Yeah, like, you would know exactly what your opponent's deck was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because not every deck is able to just, like, either play a 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop.
Yeah.
Or
Nick,
you'd
do you
see
have
them
one?
play Quicksilver.
Quicksilver and then Domino, and you're like, that might be it.
This is old leader.
Quicksilver, Domino, Speed. Anyway. I want to see Silk better. I think I miss the days. The first time I hit Infinite, because I spent the first year and a half going, I don't want to to fight past 90 because it was just too frustrating. I was too new at the game. I wasn't really paying attention to how to be best at it. I'm still not best at it, but there's something that I just have this affinity towards Silk and that Rion variant that I really want to see her be better. Now, do I know what? That's the harder question.
Is she fine as a 2/6?
I think so. I think I'd play her as a 2/6.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest problem with Silk is that she floods your own lane sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But
when you're running stuff with like Batroc, that makes it even more complicated.
Yeah.
High skill, hard outcome.
I think eventually she and Batroc are going to get divorced because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But plus, he's too old and French for her.
But it's now 2 weeks that Batroc is out, and he's still together with Silk.
Fair enough. He's gone with Silk. That stopped being played right away. Wow, remember when we thought that was good? Oof.
Yeah. Okay. How do we feel about Kang getting reworked?
I'm not. Nope. That's the end of this segment. Thanks for joining us for Buff, Ban, or Leave It Alone. We are going to talk about our card of the week, which is a great transition since no one said anything after we talked about Silk to talk about Silk. And we have 4 different Silk variants for variant of the week. Someone picked the, I believe, second Silk Spotlight on the far left.
Yes. That was mine. I think...
Wasn't that our first?
That was her first.
Oh, first? Okay, my bad.
Because that was the first time I ever went for a card and its Spotlight in the same week. Because I was like, this is the coolest art. She is a ninja. There are cherry blossoms. Like, this is so cool. It's not going to get any better than this. Little did I know there'd be 15 more Silk variants. All incredibly good.
Yep.
But I still use this variant. It's still my favorite. So
sweet. Mine is next in order. I picked the one where she's sort of sitting on the flower. I don't know why. I think that one's super evocative. It's the one I use. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Like, it's one of my favorite pieces of art in the game. I don't know why it feels so much like Silk. Maybe that's a Silk flower, and I don't know anything about anything. However, I just think it's really cool and evocative, and it feels really perfect for the character. Next up, we have Ramen.
That's me. The second I saw this variant was going to be in the game, I made it very clear that I would pay any amount of money to get this stupid variant. What I did not realize is it was going to be in an album with like 3 ultimate variants. It felt like it was 3 ultimate variants. It was ridiculous, but I have this one. I have a beautiful split on it, and I love it. There's just something about the way Rion does this art. Hopefully it wasn't traced, but there's something about the way she does this art that just, I don't know, it speaks to me. I love this one.
Fair. And that leaves Toxic for Venom eating Silk's head.
I mean, back in the days, I was known for having every Venomized card in the game, and if I have the option to choose, like, from all the variants of a card, and there's the Venomized, I always go for the Venomized. I don't know. And it looks so cool. Like, look, she looks like a flesh-eating plant. So you have your flower thing, and you have the Venom thing.
My favorite Venomized stuff is always the one where it looks like Venom is trying to eat them.
Yeah. It also...
Like the misery where it's like...
Yes.
Ooh, yeah.
It also is the first of the negative space, unofficially.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And do you like negative space? So. Yeah, me too. Like, no one likes them. Space. I think they're so great. I don't need to split them. They look amazing. Yeah, everyone's like, those are so ugly. You, man, those are awesome.
I love negative space in everything, though. Like art and stuff, when I'm just like, oh, wow, what a great use of negative space.
Mm-hmm. Me too. All right. Yeah, that's what I thought. Hey, Parrot, why should our friends follow you?
Yeah, like I said before, I put 3 to 4 videos on YouTube. I stream. I consider myself a competitive deck builder. I'm always trying to brew decks. I'm always trying to come up with new things. I don't really iterate on meta things. If you like people looking at cards, underused cards, different cards, that's what I always try to do, but still competitively. Like I'm not posting videos of trying to hit that 1 in a million crazy combo, but decks that you can bring onto the ladder that maybe aren't the same decks. But that's what I always try and do, and do it with a great personality and attitude.
Positivity. All right. So I want to sort of go a little further on what Parrot said. So partially because he's playing so many underutilized and underplayed cards, he not only ends up with really cool decks that are successful, he ends up with really cool decks that are successful for a wide variety of players. These are often lower series cards that a lot of players are more likely to have. And I know a lot of my audience is trying to hit Infinite without a complete collection, or trying to climb an Infinite without a complete collection. And Parrot's content isn't budget content, because budget content is fundamentally impossible to do in Marvel Snap because of the way card acquisition works, right? But like, if you're like, oh, I've got like this cool card and these other cool cards, but like everyone's not playing these and I want to figure it out, Parrot's where you go to figure out how to do the cool shit. Parrot, what's your YouTube and Twitch again?
Yeah, thanks. You can find me at youtube.com/@unfitparrot. Same Twitch, twitch.tv/unfitparrot, where I'm always live for new card days, usually Tuesdays and Thursdays on Twitch, and then YouTube videos just throughout the week.
4 YouTube videos, 2 Twitch streams. Make sure you're there. I'll be there. I'll see you there. Speaking of places you can find me, hey, Mr. No Sleepy, why should people follow you?
Probably I'm one of the people where I'm really international. Like, with my streaming length and time zone, probably I will find anybody in any time zone that can at least watch me for like a few hours before going to work, before going to bed. I try to be always on. Like, you can find me in any Twitch chat. Usually, if it's Marvel Snap, I'm streaming like usually 4 to 8 hours a day. I try to be as competitive as possible and hold myself at like probably a medium high rank. And sometimes I have like
medium high, by the way, is top 100. Just so you're clear, it's top 100 in the world. That's medium high. Sorry, that's absurd.
Being it for 8 months in a row is like nothing special. Like, now we need to higher the bar.
So don't not follow him because he's being an ass about this, please. But hey, Toxie, how old are you?
I am 25.
So Toxie's like clearly knocking years off his life with this sleep schedule in order to entertain you with his Twitch streams. Like, there's no chance in 10 years, I promise, you might think, I could do this forever. In 10 years, you can't do this shit. Have fun while you can. Your body's going to be like, what did you think you could do? I used to stay up to see sunrise every night. It was amazing.
If I manage to do it till 30, I will manage to do it till 35 easily.
Okay. So, yes, because your body will definitely not change at all. So, hey, Nick, does that sound right to you?
Yep. It sure does.
So, in the meantime, he's literally taking years off his life and sanity, streaming for you, doing his best to make it big in this community where he is a wonderful and positive person. Despite his name, I thought I wasn't going to like him at first because his name is Toxic Soul King. And I was like, I don't want to follow anyone with that name. And then I got to know him, and he's one of my favorite people in the community. Make sure you follow him because, again, he is literally like, he's going to be like 30 with a full head of gray hair. Like, he's going to look like he smoked 10 packs a day from never ever sleeping. He's doing this for you. Go follow him.
Exactly. You got to get in while you can before he like completely just... It's going to be like the Indiana Jones is just going to melt to pieces at some point. And it may happen on stream. So don't you want to be there for that?
You can sell the clip. Maybe you get rich with that.
Yeah,
there you go.
Exactly. If you clip it, I'll send you a season pass. When he withers away to dust, I'll send you a season pass when you clip that. All right. Certain tier support on our Patreon. Oh, no, Nick. Nick is here this week. We got to do Nick. Sorry, Nick. You don't get your own slide because you're a host.
That's
Nick,
fine.
we got to follow the Nicky. Go ahead, Nick.
Yes. Nick the Greek Geek, DA instead of the, because Twitch didn't let me. And everybody yelled at me about putting numbers on there. So, and at least I got, hey, Toxic Soul King is now just Toxic Soul King. So if he can do it, maybe one day I can achieve that same greatness and not have a messed up username. But for now, it is Nick DA Greek Geek. And I'm on Twitch occasionally. Hopefully, if I can get my computer back in shape, I will be on more frequently and I won't want to punch it into the ocean. It's not like I've spent a ton of money and time into this. But on my streams, you'll find someone who is very chaotic. I think that is probably the best way to describe it. I tend to try and engage as much as possible with my audience and the people that are there. And I just like to have a good time. And I think I provide at least some level of entertainment, even if it's just you looking and pointing and going, God, I'm glad I don't play like that.
He's not bad at Marvel Snap, although he is forgetful. Very forgetful. And he'll be like, we need to remember this card. And then he'll talk for 2 minutes and then he'll completely forget the card he was talking about. It's fucking amazing. Like you just said, remember that card less than 15 seconds ago. But another sentence happened and squirrel. So, but it's a delightful time. You will go find Nick because he streams twice a month and go support our low commitment friend. Maybe we can bully him into streaming more together. So help follow Nick so that we can all bully him into getting an actual streaming schedule.
Maybe he will take you with the dogs out in the garden if you pees there with them. So you can even see him.
You can pee in the dog together. Spot. No one knows what we're talking about. That was not recorded on this podcast. Thank God. I'm going to do Patreon now. Certain tiers support our Patreon come with on air thanks. I'm going to read a whole bunch of names as fast as humanly possible. Our Patreon of the month is Bricks to Click. Thank you to Happy Lisa, Manager Burnout, Irregardless, Meet and Crime Frostman, Hooked on Everyday, Think Boker, Brian, Ryan, Burke, Ryan Wood, Ren Ren, Caretaker Lee, Corey, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Profos, The Goat Seeker Code, Hollowed, Only Fox, Synth, Fat Nick, Absolute Shannon, Nightmare, Dirty Casual, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, Ginger Prime, Philip Rackowich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins with the Genius, The Bizza, Black Tubes, 23, Exorcy, Skippy G, Jessica Gamble, Mr. Slush, The King Bros, Great Kazoo, Werewolf, Kepsioda, Lunacris, Glam, Colonel Foreman, Rob Silverman, M. Holland, David G. Wingfield, Stephen, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B., Mr. Craig Sterry, Matt V., Corey, Corbin, John Q., Jimmy Q., Yes Out, Ace H., One Big Man, Milkman for Reals, Cactus Jack, Reapster, BG, Quidro Joe, Step Decision Joe, Dick, Carlo, Models Supreme, Boom Bot, Grit Goblin, Unibot, Flam 56, the Fuzzy Spectrum X, Hoot, Oculars, Matt H, GG, Mike, No Fricks, Nick the Greek Geek, Hi Nick, Toxic Soul King, Hi Toxic, Zodrix, the King Canada, Deadman, Falcon, Falthor, Newman, Jonesy, Two Ties, the Great, Lauren, whatever's the Pirate King Tucker, and of course, Gunny T, where the T stands for. Thanks for joining us for this wonderful, extremely long episode. Toxie, say bye.
Bye-bye.
Gotta catch them all, gotta catch them all.
Well done, Parrot. Nick?
Bye.
Peace and love, everybody.